Jiangqing, to accompany his failed first love and repeating the year, secretly left his college application blank without telling his family. Seeing Zhang's parents bragging about their son's high score to everyone, I couldn't bear it and told them the truth. Zhang's parents were furious and forced Jiangqing to choose a prestigious university. Jiangqing rose steadily in his career, but there was no longer any possibility with his first love. He hated me to the core and tormented me to death. In this new life, I didn't meddle in other people's affairs anymore. I just watched as the Jiang family caused chaos. Everyone has to pay for their actions. I will never interfere with others' karma again. Main text. On the day the college entrance exam results were released, Jiang Cheng's face was clouded with worry. His beloved Lin Xiaoxiao performed poorly and missed the university they had agreed on. Meanwhile, Jiangqing excelled, far exceeding the previous year's admission. In the hallway, Lin Xiaoxiao's eyes were red from crying as she spoke slowly and deliberately. Jiangqing, it was just a slip-up. Will you stay and retake the exam with me? I'm sure I can pass next year. Jiangqing hesitated slightly, looking somewhat troubled. But when I was filling out the application, my parents were watching. Just submit it first, and delete it at the very last moment before the application is confirmed, can't you? Lin Xiaoxiao wiped away her tears irritably. Jiangqing, do you not love me? Are you unwilling to stay and retake the exam with me? How could that be? Jiangqing gently pulled Lin Xiaoxiao into his arms and comforted her softly. Don't worry, I'll always be with you no matter what. Ah Qing, you're so kind. I pinched my arm hard to confirm that I had been reborn. Jiangqing and I are neighbors living across from each other, having grown up together since childhood, in my previous life. I happened to overhear this conversation between Jiangqing and Lin Xiaoxiao. Knowing that Jiangqing usually scores around 650, it was rare for him to perform exceptionally well with a 680, and he shouldn't miss the opportunity to attend a top university. After much hesitation, I decided to inform Jiangqing's parents about this news. Jiangqing's parents were secretly watching him, and sure enough, they saw him about to delete his application at the last moment. Enraged, they slapped him and forced him to break up with Lin Xiaoxiao. Jiangqing's application was saved, but Lin Xiaoxiao was heartbroken by his betrayal and refused to see him again. That night, a drunken Jiangqing broke down my door and tightly gripped my neck. Su Qingqing, you told my parents, didn't you? You treacherous, vicious person. I couldn't speak as Jiangqing choked me, until his parents heard the commotion and pulled the crazed Jiangqing away. I cried, I don't know what I did wrong. Lin Xiaoxiao's grades aren't great. Even if she doesn't underperform, there's no way she could get into the same university as Jiangqing. Repeating a year brings too many uncertainties. No one knows what might happen. I really can't bear to see Jiangqing throw away his hard-earned future over a fleeting romance. Nor can I bear to see the kind Mr. and Mrs. Zhang's years of hard work go to waste. Now, I understand. My biggest mistake was interfering in others' karma. Otherwise, there would be consequences. The days ahead are no different from my previous life. Jiangqing filled out his college applications as usual, and his parents were over the moon, bragging to everyone that their son would soon be attending university in Beijing. I didn't remind them as I had in my previous life. I simply pretended I knew nothing. Sure enough, at the last moment of confirming his choices, Jiangqing quietly deleted his only option. Only when everyone else had started receiving their admission notices did he confess to his parents, saying he wanted to retake the exams with Lin Xiaoxiao. Zhang's mother could never have imagined her son would be so foolish, and she fainted on the spot, being rushed to the hospital by ambulance. Zhang's father gave him a few hard slaps, and in the end, there was no other choice but to send him to repeat the year. Good news doesn't leave the house, but bad news travels 1,000 miles. Zhang's romantic escapades quickly spread throughout the small town, and everyone thought he had lost his mind. In an instant, Jiang went from being the envied golden boy to becoming the classic cautionary tale in every parent's mouth. Our high school, under the intense complaints of outraged parents, strictly cracked down on puppy love, even hanging several large red banners in the empty space of the playground that read, "Puppy love harms both oneself and others." The discussion in the class group chat was heating up, with people constantly tagging me. Qingqing, you're Jiangqing's childhood friend. Don't let him infect you with a love-struck brain. What are you talking about? That's a true romantic warrior. I chuckled softly and casually sent a meme that said, not my problem. Everything here truly has nothing to do with me anymore. I've been admitted to a university in Beijing. Though it's not as prestigious as the one Jiangqing got into in his previous life, it's still a reputable 985 institution. The wonderful life that belongs to me is just beginning. Without the betrayal from my previous life, Jiangqing didn't come to break down my door again. Instead, He spent most of his day with Lin Xiaoxiao, being all lovey-dovey. It was a month later when we met again. That day, my parents saw me off to school in Beijing, and we happened to run into Jiangqing, who was picking up his mother from the hospital downstairs. Perhaps it was the spirited appearance of our family that hurt Zhang's mother, as her eyes welled up with tears, and she forced a polite smile. Qingqing, is school starting so early? Mom's face was lit up with a warm smile. It's not that early. I just thought we'd go sightseeing first. Jiangqing's gaze fell on me, looking somewhat complicated. By this time, the cram school had already started. Whether it was due to too many rumors or the heavy workload of the cram school, he looked much more haggard, far from the blissful appearance of being in love. Thinking of my past life, I felt sick. I held onto my mom's arm and said, "Let's hurry, or we'll miss our flight." Mother agreed and was about to leave when Jiangqing quickly spoke up. "Qingqing, I need to talk to you." I was momentarily stunned and instinctively frowned, saying, "Let's talk later." We used to have the bond of childhood friends, but since Lin Xiaoxiao appeared, that bond has been completely drained, leaving only hatred. This time, even the hatred is gone, and I really don't know what he wants to say to me. Jiangqing has an extremely strong sense of pride. Normally, if I spoke to him so coldly, he would definitely turn his back and leave without a word, but now, he stubbornly grabbed my wrist. Just one sentence. My parents and Jiangqing's parents exchanged a glance. Then, leaving only me and Jiangqing in the hallway, the air suddenly grew quiet, and Jiangqing's cold voice echoed above me. "Qingqing, you heard the conversation between me and Lin Xiaoxiao that day, didn't you?" "I don't want any involvement with him," I simply said. "No, how could that be?" Jiangqing's emotions were clearly agitated. He took a deep breath to calm down. "That day when I came out, I clearly saw you wiping the floor in the living room," I thought. "What did you think?" My heart skipped a beat, and I suddenly looked up at Jiangqing. I thought. Jiangqing seemed to find it hard to say, but after hesitating, he pursed his lips and said, "I thought you might think I was being foolish and try to talk me out of it." Yes, we grew up together, and our parents had a great relationship. Jiangqing was like a real older brother to me. He's always been stubborn. When he gets stuck in his ways, I try to reason with him like an adult, but instead of gratitude, I get more and more of his disdainful looks. Zhang's parents knew I was upset with Jiangqing and would treat me even better, loving me as if I were their own daughter. It was these emotional ties that made me, in my previous life, unable to bear seeing Zhang's parents sad, and thus meddled with Jiangqing's karma. Remembering my miserable state in my past life, I couldn't help but sneer. "Please. You're nothing to me. Why would I waste my time trying to advise you?" Jiangqing seemed to be in a dream, never expecting me to say such heartless words, his eyes widening in shock. "Qingqing, we grew up together. Childhood sweethearts, childhood sweethearts." I couldn't help but laugh at what seemed like a huge joke, and only after a while did I continue in Jiangqing's puzzled gaze. Childhood sweethearts refer to two people who grow up together, support each other, and grow into better individuals together. At most, you and I are just neighbors who happen to see each other a few more times than others. I haven't forgotten how he didn't want Lin Xiaoxiao to be jealous, so after evening self-study, when he saw my bike was broken, he pretended not to see it and walked away coldly. "How dare you mention childhood friends in front of me? You have no shame." Jiangqing stared at me intently, not missing a single expression on my face. Confirming that I was telling the truth, his tall frame staggered heavily. "Qingqing, I know you're jealous of Lin Xiaoxiao, but you should never, ever have acted so willfully and stood by during the most important moment of my life." Oh, is this another attempt to gaslight me, trying to pin the blame for not telling his parents the truth on me? I coldly stared at Jiangqing. Could he have been reborn too? Such suspicion was fleeting and quickly dismissed by me. In his past life, Jiangqing's journey was smooth sailing. After completing his undergraduate and master's degrees in medicine in China, he was recommended by his mentor to pursue a PhD at a renowned German university. Upon returning, he became one of the top neurosurgeons in the country, living a life of pride and freedom. The only regret was never being able to be with Lin Xiaoxiao, his high school crush. Someone like him would never have such a foolish and unaware expression. Then, the only possible explanation is that Jiangqing knew I overheard these words in his previous life. He didn't want to give up the chance to attend a prestigious university, nor did he want to directly refuse to accompany Lin Xiaoxiao in her retake and upset her, so he was certain that I wouldn't bear to see him sacrifice his future and would inform his parents about the news. In this way, he could fulfill his dream of going to his ideal university and, without any psychological burden, shift all the blame onto me, justifiably resenting me. and use my guilt to secure various benefits for himself. As the saying goes, a guilty conscience feels continual fear. Seeing me looking at him with a half-smile, Jiangqing's eyes involuntarily shifted, yet he stubbornly tried to appear righteous. What? Am I wrong? Aren't you just selfish? Meeting his calculating gaze, I slowly smiled. So you never really wanted to accompany Lin Xiaoxiao in her repeat year, you were just forced into it. Feeling exposed, Jiangqing immediately became furious. What are you talking about? Of course I volunteered. Since you volunteered, why blame me for not stopping you? Don't say I didn't hear it. Even if I did, what obligation do I have to interfere with your great love? Of course, Jiangqing was rendered speechless by my sarcasm. I wasn't planning to waste any more words on him, but just as I turned to leave, Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly burst into the hallway from outside. Raising her hand to slap me across the face, cursing filthily, Su Qingqing, you're really shameless, you're leaving, yet you're still trying to seduce Aching. Don't you see how much Aching despises you? Upon hearing this, Jiangqing's face clearly showed some embarrassment, but soon he assumed a righteous demeanor, reaching out to put his arm around Lin Xiaoxiao's shoulder. Xiaoxiao, don't misunderstand, Su Qingqing just wanted to say goodbye to me. Heh. It was Jiangqing who came to me to accuse me, but now it sounds like I'm the one pining for him. What a cowardly and despicable thing to do. In that moment, I wanted to slap him hard, but I managed to restrain myself, only saying with a blank expression, Jiangqing, everyone has to take responsibility for their actions. Since you've chosen to be the pure love warrior, just stick to your role and repeat your lines. Don't try to have it both ways here. It only makes you look even more contemptible. This comment was clearly hitting Jiangqing where it hurt. He glared coldly at me. Su Qingqing, what do you mean by this? I'm giving you face. Don't throw it back in my face. It's you who doesn't know how to appreciate a favor. Having been burned too many times before, I had already turned on the recording function early on to prevent Jiangqing from playing any tricks. Fortunately, I had this safeguard in place, otherwise I truly would have been unable to defend myself. I opened my phone and directly sent the recording I just made to the class group chat, and to Lin Xiaoxiao. It's not me harassing Jiangqing, it's him harassing me endlessly. Fix your blind eyes before you start spewing nonsense. After sending the message, I didn't even look at those two disgusting people and walked away without looking back. Behind me, Lin Xiaoxiao's curses rang out. Su Qingqing, you better watch out, I won't let you off. Lin Xiaoxiao is arrogant and obsessive, sharp-tongued and mean. Many female classmates have suffered her ridicule and insults, yet she can act and pretend. In front of male classmates, she puts on a delicate and weak persona, playing the part of a girl. Many male classmates have a favorable impression of her. As for Jiangqing, he has always presented himself as a virtuous and upright good student. Even when he made a foolish mistake by leaving his application blank, it only earned him a reputation as a lovesick fool, without affecting others' perception of his character. Now, I will completely expose the hypocrisy of these two, making them famous once again. It's human nature to watch the drama unfold, and in no time, the class group chat exploded with activity. After understanding the full story, messages mocking and ridiculing Jiangqing and Lin Xiaoxiao flooded the screen. Selfish, mean-spirited, cunning, and obsessed with romance. No one wants anything to do with such people. The carefully maintained personas of these two individuals have now completely collapsed. I gave a cold smile, feeling a slight relief from the pent-up frustration in my heart. In my previous life, I felt deeply guilty about breaking up Jiangqing and Lin Xiaoxiao. For 4 years of university, I almost went to see Jiangqing every week, doing his laundry, tidying up his things, and treating him to good food. He had an arrogant and cold demeanor, often attacking me with the most vicious words, yet he accepted all my care without hesitation. Even when he went abroad to study, he asked me, who had just started working, for living expenses. Holding the card I gave him, his eyes glinted with hatred. Su Qingqing, this is what you owe me, because of your selfishness and malice. Xiaoxiao is still missing, and I will hate you for the rest of my life. Back then, I was completely brainwashed by Jiangqing, and I thought it was all my fault. Looking back now, it's utterly ridiculous. Lin Xiaoxiao just went to a different school to repeat her studies, and later got into a mediocre university. She's not dead. If Jiangqing's love was truly unbreakable, he could have dropped out of college to accompany Lin Xiaoxiao in her repeat year, or even if he didn't drop out, he could have taken a train to visit her at the school she later attended, but he did nothing. He simply hated me. Hating me is the cheapest form of venting that also brings various benefits. I thought this man was already shameless enough, but I didn't expect him to be even more despicable. If that's the case, don't blame me for settling both old and new grudges. My parents were waiting for me at the alley not far away. Seeing my pale face, they asked with concern, "Ching. Did that Jiangqing kid bully you?" No, I didn't want to explain, only sternly warned, "This person has despicable character, he's really not someone good, we shouldn't have any more contact with their family in the future." What about Zhang's parents? They are indeed good people, but with a despicable son, no matter how good the parents are, it's all for nothing. I don't want to have any further involvement with this family. Recently, the news about Jiangqing giving up a 985 university for love has been all over the place. My parents had already heard about it, and upon hearing my words, they exchanged a glance and nodded in agreement, without mentioning anything else. People who lack clarity of mind should be kept at a distance. With my parents' support, I smoothly arrived at university. Looking at the school where I spent 4 years but barely took the time to appreciate, I felt an overwhelming sense of regret. How wonderful. This fresh and beautiful university life, I wish I could experience it all over again, without the psychological burden of snitching, and no longer having to constantly take care of that overgrown baby in Jiangqing. I have so much more time. Besides diligently completing my coursework, I not only participated in various student clubs but also spent every day in the library reading original foreign classics. Ever since I was young, my dream has been to become a translator. Translating various foreign novels, unfortunately, due to Jiangqing, this dream was completely derailed. Now is the time for me to diligently absorb knowledge and keep striving. I am very busy. Occasionally, I would hear updates about Jiangqing and Lin Xiaoxiao from our high school group chat. The pressure of senior year was intense, and the reality of repeating it was far from as idyllic as imagined. Last time, Lin Xiaoxiao and Jiangqing had a huge fight over the recording incident. However, Jiangqing's silver tongue and his genuine sacrifice of a bright future to repeat with Lin Xiaoxiao quickly patched things up between them. After making up, they continued to be inseparable in the repeat class, adopting a burning the midnight oil mentality, wishing they could spend every hour of the day immersed in their studies. Jiangqing even sent me a text message, telling me not to get cocky just because I got into college, as he's confident he'll get into Tsinghua or Peking University next year. I let out a cold laugh, but in the end, I still replied with a few words. Very impressive. People like Jiangqing, who are not very capable but overly confident, are most afraid of being praised. The more they're praised, the more they start to float away with their own delusions. That's why I usually point out his shortcomings directly, forcing him to face his flaws, which is why he dislikes me so much in this life. Without me constantly nagging him to study, I wonder how long he can last. It seemed to confirm my guess, for soon Jiangqing's momentum deflated like a hydrogen balloon left too long, shrinking from its initial fullness to a gradual sag. As for Lin Xiaoxiao, she naturally didn't miss the opportunity to frequently send me messages to scold me. I could have changed my number to completely avoid her harassment, but I didn't. Such people become more emotionally unstable the angrier they get. In response to her provocative text, which was similar in meaning to Jiangqing's, I replied with utter disdain, "With your level of ability, even after repeating for 8 more years, you still wouldn't even get close to the gates of Tsinghua or Peking University. Lin Xiaoxiao has poor fundamentals and is emotionally unstable." My disdain doesn't serve as a provocation but rather makes her even more insecure. These two had a blissful life together, stepping on my remains in their previous life. I had no intention of seeking revenge, just letting them fend for themselves. They should never have provoked me repeatedly. Don't blame me for hitting hard then. Lin Xiaoxiao was eager to prove herself, almost wishing Jiangqing could cram all the knowledge points into her brain. Unfortunately, there are no shortcuts to learning, and her attempts to cut corners were futile. Watching time pass day by day with no progress, she grew increasingly restless. This restlessness peaked when she saw her classmates gradually sharing their vibrant university lives on social media. I also specially posted a photo of myself reading in the morning on the lawn, with the caption, "Beautiful university life, even the air feels fresh." Jiangqing is obsessive and can't stand to see me doing better than him. The better I do, the more it stings his. As expected, his furious message soon came through. "Su Qingqing, what are you showing off? This is just my daily life. Don't assume that just because you're willing to be miserable, the whole world has to be miserable." I replied coldly to Jiangqing, then sent a screenshot of the message to Lin Xiaoxiao. "Take care of your boyfriend and stop him from harassing me." Without a doubt, Lin Xiaoxiao and Jiangqing had another fierce argument. Lin Xiaoxiao started blaming Jiangqing, saying that she could have gone to a very good undergraduate university, but because Jiangqing kept pressuring her to apply to the same 985 university as him, she ended up under too much stress. which caused her to perform poorly in the college entrance exam. Otherwise, she would have already been a blossoming college student instead of a struggling senior still buried in her books. Jiangqing gave up a perfectly good 985 university. And the anger in his heart was infinitely greater than Lin Xiaoxiao's, only he was suppressing it with all his might. Now, it has completely erupted. It is said that Jiangqing pointed his finger at Lin Xiaoxiao's nose and cursed her as a jinx. If it weren't for her insistence on having him accompany her to repeat the year, how would he have ended up in such a situation? Repeating the year comes with a cost, not to mention whether he can perform exceptionally well next year as he did this year. Even if he can, he has forever lost his status as a current graduate, which will limit his choices in selecting schools and majors. Naturally, Lin Xiaoxiao didn't admit to it. She immediately pointed at Jiangqing's nose and angrily retorted, accusing him of being nothing but a lustful man who couldn't bear to part with her. So why bother making so many excuses and playing both sides? I nodded. Jiangqing was indeed a hypocritical, and Lin Xiaoxiao wasn't wrong to call him out. Never expected those so-called vows of eternal love to be so fragile, falling apart in less than 2 months. The high school group chat was buzzing with excitement. Some repeat students were eager to watch the drama unfold and even secretly filmed a video of Jiangqing and Lin Xiaoxiao arguing on the playground. As the argument escalated, neither would back down. In the scuffle, Jiangqing raised his hand and slapped Lin Xiaoxiao. The slap was swift and brutal, sending Lin Xiaoxiao sprawling to the ground and drawing a crowd of onlookers. Soon, comments appeared below the video. How fickle life is. Just 2 months ago, these two were the envied perfect couple, and now they're already fighting like cats and dogs. Love really is unreliable. Soon, someone voiced their disagreement. A perfect couple. Do you want a perfect sister who drags others down with her because she can't get into a good university? How could we possibly be worthy of the campus belle? Only a pure-hearted warrior and top scholar deserves her. People nowadays are all in the human world, and a mere illusory love can never stand in the way of one's future and destiny. I thought these two were too busy fighting every day to bother me again. To my surprise, Jiangqing came straight to my school to find me. I had no idea how long he had been waiting outside the library, looking travel-worn and weary. He rushed over to me in a single stride, his voice brimming with unconcealed excitement. Qing Qing, I've finally found you. Seeing Jiangqing's unkempt, exhausted appearance, I couldn't help but feel a sense of wistfulness. In his previous life, he attended the best medical university, studied under the nation's top medical professors. With his natural brilliance as a top student and his handsome, carefree appearance, he quickly became a prominent figure, adored by countless fans. As for me, I was merely a lowly admirer. A repentant one at that, who had inadvertently cost him his love. But life is like that, one wrong step leads to another, and once you take a wrong turn, there's no way to make amends. I took 2 steps back and shook off his grip on my wrist. Why are you here? Jiangqing bit his lip, looking as if he wanted to say something but hesitated. Seeing my impatience and my turn to leave, he quickly spoke up. I've been having some strange memories lately. I remember going to college. I've always resented you for breaking me and Lin Xiaoxiao apart, and you've been taking care of me all along. I was stunned. It turns out that even those who haven't been reborn can have memories of a past life. They are just more elusive and less tangible. Seeing that I remained silent for a long time, Jiangqing became even more agitated and stepped forward again, gripping my wrist tightly. Qing, you remember these two, don't you? You hate me for betraying you. So you stopped caring for me. How could you be so heartless? Please forgive me, Qing. I will be as excellent as I was in my previous life, and I will definitely make it up to you. My vision blurred, and tears fell unbidden. It wasn't out of emotion, but Jiangqing's pleading, word by word, truly awakened the painful memories of my past life. In my previous life, Jiangqing returned from studying abroad and directly joined the largest hospital in Beijing, with a bright future ahead. I had already decided to step out of his life, but unexpectedly, he proposed to me out of the blue. The proposal ceremony was so grand that it almost shook the entire small town. Amidst a sea of roses, Jiangqing held a bouquet of flowers, knelt down on one knee amidst the cheers of the crowd, and presented me with a huge diamond ring. Qing, we grew up together and know each other better than anyone else. Over the years, you've taken such good care of me, and I'm deeply grateful and touched. Marry me, and let me take care of you for the rest of our lives. Okay, back then, I wasn't even Jiangqing's girlfriend yet. He skipped the whole dating process and proposed to me directly, with a dominant attitude. I felt something was off and instinctively wanted to refuse, but amidst the cheers and teasing from my parents, relatives, and friends, I found myself letting Jiangqing slip the ring onto my finger in a daze, even when I later wanted to return the ring. My parents scolded me harshly. "Qingqing, don't take your blessings for granted. With Jiangqing's current status, he could find any wife he wants. The reason he chose you is because of the bond you've shared since childhood. If you don't appreciate this, don't come back home." It's no wonder my parents think this way. Over the years, no matter how Jiangqing humiliated me, he never showed it in front of family and friends. During every winter and summer break, he would even ask me about my travel plans and accompany me back and forth. Jiangqing is gentle, considerate, and successful in his career. His parents have always treated me like their own daughter, and they certainly won't mistreat me in the future. It's a rare and excellent family to marry into. When asked about the past, Jiangqing only said that his youthful ignorance had hurt me and that he would make it up to me for the rest of his life. I was moved by the pressure from all sides and his sweet words, and I married him in a daze. I thought the hard times were finally over, but little did I know that marriage marked the beginning of my nightmare. After we got married, we returned to Beijing together. That very night, Jiangqing packed his things and moved to the hospital dormitory. I asked him why he didn't stay at home, and he just looked at me coldly, sneering with biting irony. "Su Qingqing, of course it's because you make me sick." Jiangqing's words struck me like a thunderbolt, making my eyes instantly well up with tears. I stared at him in disbelief. "If you've never let go of your previous hatred, why did you marry me?" "Of course, it's to torment you every day." Jiangqing's eyes flickered with alternating disgust and pride, and his usually handsome face now looked like a terrifying demon. "I will treat you well in front of everyone, and let everyone know that marrying me is your greatest fortune, but that's only in public. Behind closed doors, you'll just have to endure this living hell alone." After saying this, Jiangqing slammed the door and left. I felt as if all my strength had been drained, collapsing weakly onto the sofa, sobbing uncontrollably. Jiangqing always lived up to his promises, always being a gentle and considerate husband in public, and taking exceptional care of my parents. Behind closed doors, however, he treated me with endless humiliation, cold words, and never fulfilled his duties as a husband for even a single day. Under such extreme contrast, I repeatedly proposed divorce, but Jiangqing would act humbly and hurt, confessing to everyone that he was wrong and that he hadn't done enough. People naturally admire the strong, and with Jiangqing's excellent acting skills, everyone believed I was being unreasonable and making a fuss. Even my usually loving parents scolded me. Under the constant mental torment, I developed severe depression and jumped off a high-rise building. Jiangqing was in unbearable pain and tried to follow me several times, but was stopped by friends and family. Everyone says that Dr. Jiang is a man of noble character, a once-in-a-century good man. How laughable. Even my death was a tool for his performance, and later, he leveraged his good reputation to marry a noble lady from Beijing who had long admired him, and they lived a loving and harmonious life. Why should I forgive such a despicable man? My fists were clenched tightly, and I was suffocating under the weight of my hatred. It wasn't until the pain of my nails digging into my flesh shot through my mind that I snapped back to reality, coldly saying, "If you're hallucinating, go see a doctor. I can't cure you." I'd rather Jiangqing think he's mentally ill than let him know those fleeting scenes in his mind are real. For someone with a haughty disposition, a physical flaw can drive him to madness. I want to make him suffer daily, trapped in the torment of his own inadequacy, just as I was in my previous life, never finding relief. To prevent Jiangqing from continuing to harass me, I called his parents directly. His parents must have used some method unknown to me, as they took him back home that very day. In the blink of an eye, half a semester has passed. Over the past 6 months, several boys have confessed to me, including some high-quality guys who are both academically and physically outstanding. After what happened with Jiangqing, I seem to have developed a shadow over all men, and I rejected them without hesitation. Maybe I'll fall in love again in my life, but definitely not now. Occasionally, I still hear news about Jiangqing and Lin Xiaoxiao from my classmates. After the initial dark and restrained period, and the tense, aggressive phase, their emotions gradually calmed down, and miraculously, they reconciled. After reconciling, they settled down and studied for a while. However, their peace didn't last long, as Lin Xiaoxiao became fascinated with live streaming, seeing so many hosts making easy money by singing and dancing in their live streams. And considering that even if she got into college, she would just end up being a corporate slave, Lin Xiaoxiao decided to give up on retaking the exams and focus on being a live streamer. Jiangqing also started skipping classes frequently to help Lin Xiaoxiao manage her video channel. Unfortunately, live streaming monetization turned out to be far more difficult than imagined. after a long struggle, Jiangqing had exhausted the 30,000 yuan he had stolen from home for marketing. With no improvement in sight, Jiangqing planned to go home and steal more money for promotion, but was caught red-handed by his parents, who then realized he had been absent from school for a long time. Zhang's mother, who had just started to recover, was so upset that she was hospitalized again. The Jiang family was in complete chaos, and naturally, they weren't going to let Lin Xiaoxiao off the hook. In the heat of anger, Zhang's father stormed into Lin Xiaoxiao's house, berated her, and demanded compensation from her parents. Otherwise, he threatened to have her arrested for inciting theft. Lin Xiaoxiao's family was already struggling financially, and her parents refused to pay. They insisted that Jiangqing was the one leading Lin Xiaoxiao astray, leading to a violent confrontation between the two families. In the midst of the chaos, Lin Xiaoxiao was pushed to the ground and started bleeding. It wasn't until she was taken to the hospital that they discovered she was over a month pregnant. This only made Lin Xiaoxiao's parents more determined. They demanded Jiangqing take responsibility, or they wouldn't let it go, and so, the two of them got married in a blur. However, marriage wasn't the start of a blissful life, but rather the beginning of chaos. Lin Xiaoxiao was irritable and difficult during her pregnancy. During one argument, Jiangqing accidentally pushed her, causing her to lose the baby. I found the news incredibly ironic. In my previous life, Jiangqing went through many trials to find Lin Xiaoxiao, only to discover that she had already married a rich second-generation local from her university. The playboy married Lin Xiaoxiao out of momentary interest, thinking she was easy to control and wouldn't stop him from going out to play. After she gave birth to 2 daughters without producing a son, he treated her with even greater contempt. Jiangqing was deeply affectionate toward Lin Xiaoxiao when he found her, but she was too afraid to divorce the playboy and coveted his wealth, so they only carried on secretly. I remember when I was at my sickest, Lin Xiaoxiao stood before me with her swollen belly, flaunting that the child inside her was Jiangqing's, waiting for me to die so she could bring the child back to claim the family inheritance. It was only then that I realized they had been together for a long time, and even the scheme of making Jiangqing marry me to torment me was concocted by him and Lin Xiaoxiao together. It wasn't me who tore them apart, it was Lin Xiaoxiao's greed and selfishness that wanted more, and I became the unfortunate scapegoat. The chaotic and tumultuous life she has endured is what she deserves. Rumors are just rumors. It wasn't until I returned to my hometown during the new year and met Jiangqing that I truly understood the saying, seeing is believing. He had a scraggly beard, hollow eyes, a large stain on his down jacket, and at just 20 years old, his back was already slightly hunched. If I hadn't seen him in his 30s, still full of vigor and vitality in my previous life, I would have suspected that he was inherently a hopeless case. A promising life, ruined by his own actions, could be seen as getting what he wanted. After our last meeting, Jiangqing called me countless times, all of which I ignored. The deep-seated hatred from my past life flows through my veins, and I fear that even a single interaction with him might make me want to take a knife to him. But it's not worth it. My wonderful life cannot be ruined by a despicable scumbag. Jiangqing didn't expect to see me so abruptly in the hallway, and he froze for a moment. Indeed, over the past 6 months, I've been mentally vibrant, and during my leisure time, I've learned how to dress and groom myself. My overall state is far better than Jiangqing's current plight. In the next moment, he rushed down the steps, his emotions running high, and used his height advantage to look down at me. Qingqing, you must be happy to see me in such a miserable state, right? Jiangqing has always been like this. In his eyes, all his misfortunes are caused by others. I should completely disregard myself. Unhesitatingly go to his parents and tell them he wants to leave his application blank, then let him hate me with a clear conscience, and let me spend my entire life atoning for it. I took a silent step back, feeling disgusted just breathing the same air as this despicable man. I've told you before, you're just a stranger to me, someone I don't care about. Whether you're doing well or not is your own business, and it has nothing to do with me. It's not even worth mentioning if he's doing poorly. Even if he died right in front of me, I wouldn't feel a single ripple in my heart. Not setting off firecrackers at his funeral is the last bit of restraint I have. You weren't like this before. You used to like me, and you would always encourage me to strive and improve. Jiangqing was hurt by my cold attitude, and his sensitive nerves couldn't help but become agitated again. Qingqing, don't be like this. Can you go back to how you used to be? I know you're jealous of Lin Xiaoxiao, and I promise I will never have any contact with her again. Trust me, no more contact at all. The white moonlight I longed for is just like that. Jiangqing, a real man should take responsibility. If you treated Lin Xiaoxiao better, I might have respected you as a man, but now, you just make me sick. With disgust, I turned to carry my suitcase up the steps, but Jiangqing, in an emotional outburst, blocked my way, his eyes filled with rage. Qing. How could you become so vicious? In terms of ruthlessness, I can't even compare to a fraction of his. If he knew nothing, that would be fine, but it was my meddling that prevented him from repeating the year with Lin Xiaoxiao. Regardless of my intentions, I was in the wrong first, but that conversation before going to Beijing made it crystal clear that Jiangqing knew everything, and he was just pinning the blame on me. Using my guilt, he took whatever he wanted from me, tormenting me endlessly. My sarcastic smile was so obvious that Jiangqing couldn't help but notice. He grabbed my wrist tightly, and just as I was about to call for my parents, the security door across the hall opened first. Although I knew Lin Xiaoxiao had gone through so much trouble and had a miscarriage, I was still stunned to see her standing there. In just half a year, she was no longer the bright, lively, and charming girl she once was. Her hair was disheveled, her skin rough and uneven, covered in spots and pimples, and even her nasolabial folds were deeper than before. At first glance, she looked like a woman in her 40s. This time, she had improved, knowing who the culprit was, and directly pointed the finger at Jiangqing. Jiangqing, you really disgust me. Who was it that told me Su Qingqing was dull and boring, always nagging nonstop, even more annoying than your mom? For years, you hated her so much it made you sick, and now? How long has it been before you're rushing to be nice? What are you talking about? When have I ever despised Qingqing? Jiangqing shook his head frantically, utterly disgusted with Lin Xiaoxiao. Look at you now, you're completely insane, you're a lunatic. Yes, I'm crazy, driven mad by you. Lin Xiaoxiao, already in this state, naturally didn't care about her dignity and rushed forward to slap Jiangqing hard across the face. This is all your fault. You'll never get rid of me in this lifetime, bitch. Before they could finish speaking, the two of them were at it again. Jiangqing has always been despicable, so it didn't surprise me at all to hear these words from him, but I didn't feel like saying anything more. There's nothing left to say between us. By this time, my parents heard the noise, opened the door, and welcomed me home. As soon as I stepped into the house, I felt a sense of relief and looked up to tell my parents, Mom, Dad, let's move. Okay, I never want to see those two lunatics again, not even by chance. My dad and mom exchanged a glance and smiled. We've discussed it. You'll definitely stay in Beijing for work after graduation. If we sell this house and add our savings from these years, we can just about afford a down payment for a place in Beijing. My parents had planned everything for my sake, and I was so moved that my eyes welled up with tears as I choked out, thank you, Mom and Dad, in this lifetime. I, along with my family, finally have peace and are reunited. During the new year, I stayed home and didn't go out. Jiangqing came to visit me a few times, but my parents sent him away each time. From time to time, loud arguments and fights erupt next door between Jiangqing and Lin Xiaoxiao. What was once a sweet couple has now become the most detestable version of each other. The old house isn't soundproof, and after hearing their commotion for several days, I couldn't take it anymore. So I took my parents on a trip. Can't confront them, but can't avoid them either. Let them tear each other apart. Jiangqing only married Lin Xiaoxiao because of the child. They only had a wedding ceremony and didn't even get a marriage certificate. Now that they've fallen out, they've separated directly. After a few months, Jiangqing returned to the cram school to continue his studies. Lin Xiaoxiao also regained her energetic state, proudly sharing a screenshot of her live streaming earnings. Su Qingqing, so what if you got into college? In the future, you won't even make a fraction of what I earn. I glanced at her live stream video, which was explicit and borderline inappropriate, so I reported it immediately. It's everyone's responsibility to browse the internet safely. We can't corrupt the flowers of our nation, perhaps due to the numerous reports of explicit content. Lin Xiaoxiao's newly created account was quickly banned. It said she even spent a few days in detention before being forcibly sent back to a cram school by her parents. These two were truly destined to be entangled. Unfortunately, their studies were delayed for so long, and their minds and bodies were severely damaged. Both barely scored just over 500. Just enough to meet the first-tier university line. The glory of last year has only passed for a year, but for Jiangqing, it feels like an eternity. The scenes of being surrounded by adoring crowds occasionally flash through their minds, but they are now as elusive as clouds. It is said that on the day the exam results were released, Zhang's mother had another heart attack from anger, crying and cursing Lin Xiaoxiao as a jinx who had ruined her son's life. See, no matter how kind-hearted parents are, they will only blame someone else's daughter for leading their son astray, without even looking at what their own son is really like. While the Jiang household was in chaos again, My parents successfully sold their old house. Previously, Jiangqing kept coming to beg my parents to persuade me to forgive him. My parents were so tired of being pestered that they didn't dare to tell anyone and quietly sold the house. That same night, they boarded a flight to Beijing with the money. Someone in the high school class group mentioned that Lin Xiaoxiao eventually chose an unremarkable ordinary university, and Jiangqing didn't go with her but chose to repeat the year again. He kept sending me messages, saying he knew he was wrong and would definitely get into the university I'm at, asking me to wait for him. I laughed. What you can't have always stirs desire, but one wrong step leads to another. And no one will wait for anyone in place, let alone a past life enemy. During my junior year, I earned the opportunity to study in the U.S. as an outstanding exchange student, bringing me closer to my dream. Jiangqing, after 2 grueling years of retaking classes, sat for the college entrance exam once again. The day before the exam, Jiangqing called me using someone else's phone, pitifully saying, "Qingqing, I will definitely get into your university, wait for me." I said nothing and hung up the phone decisively. Emotions before the exam are crucial. The more I ignore it, the more restless and unstable Jiangqing's mindset becomes. Want psychological comfort from me? Dream on. It turns out that all of Jiangqing's luck was used up during his first college entrance exam. Even after repeating the year and giving it his all, he still performed poorly in the first subject. That noon, I shared a post on my alternate account about cheating in the college entrance exam on Moments, with the caption, "The cheating methods nowadays are getting more and more advanced. It's impossible to guard against them." Jiangqing secretly added my small account under the guise of being a classmate, thinking I didn't know, but I was fully aware. This message was deliberately sent for him to see. The shock of his poor exam performance nearly drove Jiangqing to the brink of collapse. My post on WeChat Moments gave him the idea, and he actually took the risk to buy answers online for cheating, only to be caught red-handed by the invigilator. Jiangqing's cheating was recorded in his personal file, banning him from taking the college entrance exam for 3 years, becoming a lifelong stain on his record. Jiangqing didn't make a scene when he learned of the punishment. He just locked himself in his room. A few days later, I received a message, "Qingqing, everything I'm going through now is karma, isn't it?" I don't know how much of his past life he can remember, or if he can see himself successful and full of spirit. If possible, this stark contrast would be enough to torment him for the rest of his life. But none of this concerns me anymore. I'm about to go abroad to study. On the day I left for abroad, my parents both saw me off at the airport, reminding me to take good care of myself overseas. I assured them one by one, easing their worries, and also told them that I would definitely return to work in my home country after completing my studies, and would not stay abroad. A family was bidding an emotional farewell when suddenly the cries of babies and toddlers echoed from a distance. Instinctively turning back, they saw a nouveau riche-looking man viciously slap his wife across the face, shouting angrily, "Useless thing. All you produced are these worthless girls. Shut them up right now, or I'll throw them all away." The beaten woman dared not make a sound, only patting the baby in her arms repeatedly, while the crying little girl beside her, no more than 2 or 3 years old, kept tugging at her skirt, calling out for her mother. Upon closer inspection, her belly was slightly rounded, clearly indicating she was pregnant. This figure, this feeling, only now did I realize that the woman in front of me was Lin Xiaoxiao, whom I hadn't seen in years, in my previous life. She had come to me with her belly protruding, showing off, though I wonder whose child she carries in this life. My mind was a whirlwind of thoughts as my mom tugged at my sleeve. "Qingqing, it's time to go." I nodded, turned to say goodbye to my parents, and walked toward the security checkpoint not far away. The past is no longer important. What matters is that my life is now filled with light. Story 2. My sister and I unlocked the selection system. The system asked, 1 billion or your biological mother, which would you choose? My sister chose the 1 billion without hesitation. Then she married into the wealthy G family, receiving 1 billion in dowry. Meanwhile, I lived an ordinary life with my remarried mother. Who would have thought that less than 3 years after my sister married into the G family, they went bankrupt. Her husband fled abroad with all the money, leaving her alone to take the blame and go to prison. After she was released from prison, her first act was to come and kill me. When I opened my eyes again, both of us had returned to the day we had to make our choice. This time, she was the first to choose our birth mother. I laughed. Finally someone was going to brave that den of wolves in my stead. I choose my mom. My twin sisters in King wore an utterly undisguised look of triumph as she said those words, identical to the expression she'd had in our past life after making her choice. Last time she chose the 10 billion, only to meet such a miserable end. Seems she's brimming with confidence about her decision this time. I had no choice but to accept the Ji family's 1 billion yuan bride price and marry the son of the country's richest man, Ji Tingxian. On our wedding day, the scene was nothing short of sensational. The elite from all fields across the nation attended our ceremony, except for the groom himself. This was exactly how Zheng Qing's marriage to him played out in her past life. It's almost laughable. Ji Tingxian is incredibly childish. He refused to attend the wedding just to prove his undying devotion to his white moonlight. Deep down I knew whether it was marrying my sister in his past life or marrying me this time, it was all because his family was pressuring him to settle down, and because we bore an uncanny resemblance to his white moonlight, as he put it. Barely passable to look at. 1. The groom's absence made the wedding unbearably awkward. Standing alone beside the officiant, I caught sight of Zheng Qing in the crowd, her face full of mockery. Last time she got married and faced this situation, she became so flustered and angry that she burst into tears on the spot, turning an already awkward scene into something even more cringe-worthy. This time she must be determined to come and watch me make a fool of myself. My younger sister has always been like this since childhood, unable to bear seeing me live better than her. When we were kids, she was very playful while I studied hard, got good grades, and was always praised by the school. Resentful of this, she teamed up with school bullies to bully me. Thanks to her behaving this way all along, it has actually tempered me to remain unperturbed by honor or disgrace, without any resentment. I completed all the procedures arranged by the host with a smile on my face. When I went down to propose a toast, several wealthy wives couldn't stop praising me, saying I carried myself with grace and composure, handling such circumstances with ease. They all thought I was suffering immense grievances, forced to put on a brave face while swallowing my pain, but what they didn't know was that I genuinely didn't care. It's just a wedding, what's the big deal if the groom shows up or not? As long as the 1 billion hits my account, that's all that matters. After all, I didn't marry for that stupid man. On the wedding night, as soon as we got home, my mother-in-law flew into a rage at Ji Tingxian, calling him a worthless disappointment who nearly ruined the Ji family's reputation by failing to consider the bigger picture. Do you have any idea? If it weren't for Henin holding up the occasion today, our family would have become the laughingstock of everyone. Facing the accusations from his biological mother, Ji Tingxian looked full of resentment. The mother-in-law said with exasperation, "You should be grateful to marry a girl like Henin. What more could you possibly be dissatisfied with? Do you really think Henin married above her station by being with you? If you ask me, it's our family who married above our station. Do you even realize that Henin is actually enough?" "Stop talking," Ji Tingxian interrupted the conversation. "I don't care who she is." With that, he rose from the sofa, took a few quick steps toward me, and stared straight at me, his eyes devoid of any warmth. "You're just a stand-in, and a stand-in should know their place. Remember, I'll never touch you, so don't even think about trying anything with me." God, this idiot's aura is making me sick. If my mother-in-law weren't here, I'd really want him to stay far away from me. I have a zero-tolerance policy for stupidity. I forced out an utterly fake smile and said, "That would be for the best." Zheng Qing was more impatient than I had thought. I had been married for less than a month, yet she was already in a hurry to come and show off to me. To ensure I wouldn't refuse her, she even fabricated a perfect excuse and had my mother relay it to me. "Your younger sister has found a really good boyfriend. I'm worried she might get deceived. Could you help me check and see what kind of man he is?" We met at a cafe. The location chosen by Zheng Qing, we hadn't even exchanged a few words before she started boasting that this was her favorite spot. As she spoke, she naturally linked arms with Lin Jiqiang, smiling sweetly. "Ah Chang spoils me so much, knowing I love this place. He immediately got us an annual membership card here." I thought as much. With Zheng Qing's monthly salary of just 2,800, there's no way she could afford the expenses of such a high-end cafe. Turns out she's flaunting someone else's money as her own. Keeping my composure, I smiled politely. "Then we should thank Mr. Lin for his patronage of our establishment." "That's right, this cafe is my business. After all, with a billion-dollar fortune in my hands, it'd be quite dull to just leave it all in the bank earning interest. It's only natural for me to invest some of it." Zheng Qing was initially holding her coffee, pretending to be artsy, but upon hearing this, she immediately set her cup down on the table. "Even if you're rich, don't invest recklessly. Be careful not to go bankrupt." Sensing Lin Jiqiang's puzzled look, she picked up her cup again, took a sip, and slowly said, "What I mean is, I've come to realize that money isn't important at all. What truly matters is whether the people around you are genuine." Once this topic came up, she couldn't stop talking. praising Lin Jiqiang endlessly, how accomplished he was at a young age. How he catered to her every whim. As I looked at Xing Qing, I couldn't help but feel pity for her. What could have clouded my sister's judgment so badly? Even after getting a second chance at life, she still hasn't seen the light. Money isn't as important as a man's sincerity. What kind of nonsense is she spouting? Besides, what kind of person Lin Jiqiang really is? How could I not know? In my past life, I also had a relationship with Lin Jiqiang. We met at a gathering at Wu Dexing's home. At that time, he was Wu Dexing's prized student, while my mother was discussing marriage with Wu Dexing. Too, Lin Jiqiang was handsome and talented, already a top expert in the industry at 30. Moreover, he treated me extremely well. With such a person pursuing me so intensely, I really had no reason to refuse. But my mother, after listening to Wu Dexing's advice, firmly opposed this marriage. Lin Jiqiang even suggested we get on the bus first and buy the ticket later, which I decisively refused. Little did I know that this refusal would reveal his true colors. He started spreading malicious rumors about me everywhere, causing me great distress. It took me a long time to finally put this matter to rest. Later, I found out that his urgency to marry me was because his so-called industry expert identity was completely fabricated. In reality, he had long been unable to keep his job at the company and wanted to leverage Wu Dexing's status as a university professor to secure a position at the university. Could a man like this have genuine feelings? Even if he did, they'd be nothing but trash. But all his dirty little secrets are nothing compared to the filthy thoughts Wu Dexing harbors. It's like comparing a minor league player to a major leaguer. While Lin Jiqiang was in the bathroom, I decided to give Xing Qing a warning. After all, she's still my own sister, and I don't want to see her fall into that scoundrel's clutches. Don't waste your time on that Lin guy. Neither Wu Dexing nor Mom would ever agree to it, I said, taking a sip of coffee before adding. To be precise, they disapprove of anyone you're with. Stop talking nonsense. You're just jealous because your husband won't touch you, so you can't stand seeing me and Ah Chang being all lovey-dovey. Besides, Uncle Wu has always been very good to me. The reason you didn't get along with him before was because your personality was unlikable. I scoffed. Oh, so you think Wu Dexing likes you very much? Then I have nothing more to say. No advice can save those determined to perish. No mercy can reach those who cut themselves off. I've been very busy lately, busy making money work for me. Besides that coffee shop, I actually own several other properties. With money in hand, investing feels incredibly satisfying. It's like fulfilling my lifelong dream of being a businessperson. I used to dream of saving enough money to open my own store. During those years, I tried almost every job imaginable. I've gained thorough experience in every aspect, from production to sales, and even after-sales service, for many products. But for a mere wage earner, accumulating enough capital to start a business is no easy feat. I never got to fulfill that wish before I died, but looking back now, it's precisely these valuable experiences accumulated from grassroots work that allow me to understand the market, understand customers, and most importantly, understand employees better than other investors. After half a year, not only did my 1 billion not decrease, but I actually made quite a profit, though I had no intention of telling anyone. That day, I was lying in bed, gleefully looking at my bank account balance when Ji Tingxian suddenly barged into the bedroom, glaring at me with obvious displeasure. Woman, don't think pretending to be uninterested in me will get my attention. 3. I raised my head and looked at him with an expression reserved for idiots. Goddamn retard, I said distractedly. If you've got nothing better to do, go find something instead of hovering around me. I'm busy counting money and don't have time for you. Ji Tingxian, for some inexplicable reason, flew into a rage and started berating me. Money, 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 just like other women, all you know is spending. I scoffed inwardly. As for what happens to those who only know how to spend, I probably understood far better than he did. After all, there was Xing Qing's cautionary tale. Back then, she was reckless and brainless with her extravagance. A 1 billion yuan dowry squandered in just over 2 years. Only when the money ran out did she remember the importance of maintaining marital bonds. But it was too late. By then, Ji Tingxian was already hopelessly infatuated with his white moonlight. I'm not like her. I never even considered trying to maintain this non-existent marital bond. Why waste time on such meaningless things? Isn't focusing on making money much better? A month later, my mother-in-law and I boarded a plane to Country F. She came for vacation, while I, firstly to conduct market research for idols, and secondly because I simply couldn't stand Ji Tingxian anymore. He's been appearing before me more frequently lately, each time putting on that domineering CEO act. Woman, no matter how cold you pretend to be, It's useless, I won't give you a second glance. I don't know how to express my disdain for him. I genuinely look down on this kind of man who idles around doing nothing all day. With a CEO like him, can the company really stay operational? Regarding this issue, Ji Tingxian quickly demonstrated the answer through his actions. No, he completely lacks the most basic decision-making abilities that a leader should possess. During these more than 2 weeks in Country F, my mother-in-law received daily calls about company matters, most of which were from Ji Tingxian himself, a nearly 30-year-old man, yet he behaves like a child, needing to consult his mother about every single matter. He can't make a single decision, let alone handle the unpredictable changes in the business world. My mother-in-law had such a bad headache that she had to book an early return flight home. I went on vacation to see if Tingxian could manage company affairs independently without me. Now it seems I overestimated him, but you're much more mature than him. Watching you conduct research these days reminded me of when I was young, helping his father manage business affairs. I'll repeat what I said back then. For the Ji family to marry a girl like you was truly reaching above our station. Looking at this earnest, kind-faced elder before me, I found it hard to connect her with the evil mother-in-law Zhang King had described. But in that moment I understood, my mother-in-law wasn't targeting anyone specifically. She simply despised incompetence. She showed this same contempt toward her own good-for-nothing son, let alone Zhang King, that utterly useless daughter-in-law of hers. Coincidentally, we share common ground in our disdain for useless people. The first thing I did after returning to my home country was establish an entertainment company and aggressively recruit trainees. I, Zhang Qihan, am determined to make it in the entertainment industry, not just survive, but thrive. When my mother-in-law found out, she fully supported my venture, injecting substantial funds and leveraging her connections to secure numerous exposure opportunities for my trainees. At first I was somewhat resistant, not wanting to owe her such a big favor, but she said something that basically dispelled my concerns. Don't think I'm spoiling you. I'm speaking strictly business here. I can't put all my eggs in one basket, especially not in the G Corporation's shoddy basket that looks unreliable. With her support, my trainees quickly gained some fame, and coincidentally there was a show called Form a Band, Trainees, in preparation, so I signed them up. As one of the show's sponsors, I took my seat on the judges' panel as the group formation manager. Trainees from various companies performed their talents one by one, but everyone knew these were merely supporting acts designed to highlight the next contestant. Hello everyone. My name is Lin Qingyan. The widely acknowledged top favorite to win, Ji Tingxuan's long-cherished white moonlight, it must be said, Lin Qingyan's face, undoubtedly worth every penny spent, is truly captivating. No wonder that fool Ji Tingxian is so bewitched by him as if he's lost his soul. But as stunning as she looks, her talent performance was equally terrible, a rhythmless rap that made me nauseous. The image is excellent, but professional skills still need refinement. I thought I had phrased it quite diplomatically, but unexpectedly, Lin Qingyan's team turned out to be just as fake as she is. Aggressively marketing her victim narrative, Lin Qingyan also deliberately or inadvertently revealed her past romantic history with Ji Tingxian, steering public opinion to portray me as a villain who stole someone's love and married into wealth by throwing myself at a rich man. Just one episode into the show, the buzz around her and me already overshadowed all the other trainees, exactly the outcome her team was aiming for. Right now, what netizens are most curious about is Ji Tingxuan's own stance on the matter. In fact, everyone in the industry knows that the president of a listed company would never personally respond to such gossip news. However, they overestimated Ji Tingxuan's intelligence. I received his call. Just admit that your coldness towards me was an act, and I'll reluctantly help you out this time. Fucking idiot. I shouted this long-suppressed thought and immediately hung up the phone. Half an hour later, I saw the headline news. The CEO of G Group publicly sided with Lin Qingyan and revealed their love token. You idiot. Have you lost your damn mind? I drove straight to Ji Tingxian and slapped him across the face, shouting angrily. He covered his reddened cheek, staring at me in shock. The last person who hit me was my mother. Woman, you're playing with fire. If you keep mixing personal and professional matters and blabbing everything, you're truly playing with fire. Do you really think Lin Qingyan is any good? He smirked. Ha, woman, so you're jealous of Yan Yan after all. As if you're worthy. I'm exhausted. Let it all burn. There's really no saving him. I originally thought I could sound the alarm and make him stay away from Lin Qingyan, so my mother-in-law's efforts wouldn't go to waste, but now it seems unnecessary. With leadership like this, if the G Corporation doesn't go bankrupt, it would truly be unjust. The rival of the G family, the Guoguan Group, did not let go of this golden opportunity, capitalizing on the gossip about Ji Tingxian and Lin Qingyan. They heavily publicized Ji Tingshuan's chaotic personal life and even dug up that the love token was actually a limited edition from a brand that insulted the nation. 5. Overnight, Ji Tingshuan's reputation plummeted, and along with it, the stock price of the Ji family's enterprise took a nosedive. I glanced at the ever-increasing balance in my bank account, feeling not the slightest bit of panic. Let him go bankrupt. I'll keep making my money, no interference either way. But in Zheng Qing's eyes, that was clearly not the case. She was convinced that Ji Tingxian and I were in the same boat, so the moment she heard about the sharp drop in Ji Group's stock price, she immediately called to mock me, although I broke up with Achong. Uncle Wu treats me really well. He buys me lots of designer brands and unconditionally supports me in everything I do, unlike you, who may have a wealthy husband, but he doesn't even care about you at all. Finally, she didn't forget to add, oh sorry, I forgot. Your wealthy husband is about to go bankrupt too. I remained silent and hung up the phone. Sometimes, watching a fool perform can leave one feeling quite helpless. That's just how Wudexing is, spending money like water. Especially on young girls, although his pension isn't particularly low, it can't withstand his current spending habits. In my previous life, my mother had to work multiple jobs every day, enduring great hardship. I tried persuading her to break up with Wudexing, but she insisted that finding a caring companion in old age wasn't easy. Seeing that persuasion was futile, I resolved to earn more to support her. It was precisely for this reason that I resigned from my position as a college gymnastics instructor, seeking broader career opportunities, and so from that day onward, I became the one juggling multiple jobs simultaneously. Yet what made it hardest for me to endure wasn't the pressure from work, but my mother's insatiable greed. She never felt sorry for me, she only complained that I didn't give enough. Gradually, I realized my mother was a hopeless romantic fool. For that wretched old man Wudexing, she had no qualms about working me like livestock. So what about now? My younger sister is notoriously lazy and gluttonous. Expecting her to go out and earn money is absolutely impossible, so my mother has no choice but to tough it out herself. With my mother's frail physique, how could she possibly withstand their exploitation? Sure enough, within a few days, I received a call from my mother. She kept sobbing on the phone, describing her situation as utterly miserable. I believe everything you're saying, but what does that have to do with me? I calmly said a few words and hung up the phone. Playing the saint too often never ends well. Remember to let go of the savior complex and respect others' destinies. The competition in Idol Trainee Camp has passed the halfway mark, with all contestants giving their all to secure a debut spot. Except for Lin Qingyan, who stands as the exception, had I not seen it with my own eyes. I'd never believe that at this stage of the competition, someone could still perform Dancing Diva so utterly poorly. Her movements were distorted, her voice off-key as she sang the final line. No one sees the dancer's joys and sorrows. I endured through the entire song until I couldn't take it anymore. Nobody sees this lady's joys and sorrows either. The entire studio suddenly fell silent, my blood boiling. I said sharply, had you attended even a single gymnastics class? You couldn't possibly have performed this artistic gymnastics piece so poorly. Have you ever respected the audience? Have you ever respected rhythmic gymnastics? This is a desecration of the sport. As soon as I finished speaking, some fans behind me expressed dissatisfaction. What? Is this woman crazy? Does she even understand gymnastics? Exactly. Our Yan Yan has been working so hard. This old hag is just jealous of Yan Yan. Lin Qingyan remained composed and smiled slightly. Sister Qihan is right. I'm indeed not very skilled in this area, but from what you're saying, sister, you seem to know rhythmic gymnastics quite well. Could you demonstrate it for us? As she spoke, she lifted the performance ribbon in her hand. I understood. She was provoking me. She was now smiling brilliantly and elegantly, but it didn't matter. Soon, that smile would vanish. I took the ribbon from her hand and spun, leaped, and closed my eyes in one fluid, graceful motion. Haven't practiced in a while. I'm a bit rusty. I smiled as I returned the ribbon to Lin Qingyan's hand. She currently has a completely bewildered expression, but what left her even more dumbfounded was yet to come. 6. That very afternoon, someone online dug up another identity of mine that I'd never mentioned before, former world champion in rhythmic gymnastics. These are just some past honors I've received, nothing worth mentioning really, but the public's obsession with this identity of mine far exceeded my expectations. Within less than half a day, news about me spread across the internet, with everyone marveling at my excellence and admiring my humility even more. I knew it, no ordinary person could marry into the richest family. You've got to have real skills to be worthy. What nonsense are you talking about? That's a world champion we're discussing. It's the G family who's climbing the social ladder here. Thanks to my status as a world champion, the reputation of the G Corporation has also rebounded. After falling for over a week, the stock price finally showed an upward trend, allowing the G family to narrowly escape disaster this time. My mother-in-law, who had been anxious for days, could finally breathe a slight sigh of relief. I told you so. Marrying Henin was the best fortune your G family could ever have. You'd better appreciate your luck, you brat. It took me a long time to find out that the person who first revealed my championship status online was actually hired by my mother-in-law. I asked her why she did this. She said proudly, "My daughter-in-law is so outstanding. I can't let her be bullied by those worthless people." While I was thriving and flourishing, Lin Qingyan's life wasn't going so well. After the dancer incident, her popularity plummeted. The company poured massive resources into her, but her abysmal professional skills wasted all these investments, forcing the company to consider promoting someone else instead. Just like that, Lin Qingyan became the company's discarded pawn. Some inexplicable rumor started circulating, leading public opinion to speculate that I would definitely take this opportunity to crush Lin Qingyan completely to promote our own trainee. Lin Qingyan herself completely abandoned her last shred of dignity. Facing the cameras, she tearfully claimed she was under tremendous pressure, in poor condition, felt targeted, and might withdraw from the competition at any moment due to the unbearable stress. The trolls also seized the moment to exert their influence, constantly making insinuations that she was being suppressed by me. In reality, these were nothing more than the struggles of a cornered beast. She had already been abandoned by the company. This was an indisputable fact. No matter how much she flailed about, she was only lining the pockets of marketing accounts with her own money. All I needed to do was watch quietly, but I forgot that I still had a useless teammate like Ji Tingxian. This time, he was once again the first to step forward and declare his stance. However, unlike last time, he firmly stood by my side this time. I rushed into his office covered in dust. And seeing his smug expression asking for credit, my anger flared up uncontrollably. "Did you really forget everything I said last time about keeping personal and professional matters separate? Are you out of your mind?" Clueless and helpless in his rage, he shouted, "You woman, I'm protecting you, yet you're still not satisfied. What exactly do you want me to do?" My phone vibrated in my pocket. When I picked it up to check, my vision darkened. The rival company had moved faster than I anticipated. After seeing Ji Tingxuan's outrageous stance, I immediately contacted PR to minimize the public fallout, but now it's clear we were still a step too slow. Ji Tingxuan's scandal has already flooded the internet. Is Ji Tingxian really helping Xing Qihan speak out now, or is he just pouring fuel on the fire? LOL. This rotten playboy still trying to play the devoted lover. In no time, all sorts of scandalous rumors about him were dug up. Of course I knew these were all fake. But would the gossip-loving public care? For 3 whole days, this matter remained trending. I was determined to let him clean up his own mess. He struggled for over a month without making any progress, and in the end, it was my mother-in-law who stepped in to settle things for him. At the family dinner that day, my mother-in-law looked physically and mentally exhausted. "I'm getting old and have wanted to let go for a while now. This is the last time I'll help you. From now on, don't come to me with any company matters. Listen more to your wife. He's quite good at applying what he's learned. Honey, do you have any suggestions for the company's future development?" I took a sip of red wine and looked at my mother-in-law. "Mom, if conditions permit, I suggest you have another child. When it rains, it pours. Lately, nothing has been going smoothly for me. Just as we resolved the mess Ji Tingxian caused, news came that my mom was hospitalized due to illness. 7. As soon as Ji Tingxian and I arrived at the hospital room, my mom started scolding me. "You brat, you finally showed up. At least you've got some conscience. Spoke too soon. We're actually here to get back the 500,000 yuan Ji Tingxian transferred to you." This idiot, trying to suck up to me, immediately transferred 500,000 yuan when he heard my mom was hospitalized. Luckily he came to boast about it to me right after, otherwise I might have lost 500,000 yuan for nothing and remained completely unaware. "Xing Qihan, you're really outrageous. It's bad enough that you won't contribute any money yourself, but now you even want to take back the money your brother-in-law gave." I glanced over coldly and saw Xing Qing returning from outside, carrying large and small shopping bags, with Wu Dexing following behind her. From the looks of it, they've been out shopping together. My mother worked herself sick trying to support these two parasites. And yet they actually had the leisure to go shopping. How dare they criticize me? I sneered coldly. "Oh, buying so many luxury items. Surely you're not using the 500,000 my family lent you. None of your business. The money was lent to me by brother-in-law. What's it to you? I teased mockingly. Oh, your brother-in-law regrets it now and wants it back. Zinqing blinked her big eyes at Ji Tingxian. Brother-in-law, is what she said true? Without changing my expression. I looked at Ji Tingxian, who resembled a kitten being handled, obediently nodding his head, earning him a smile from me. I then turned to Zinqing. Not returning it is fine, just pay the interest. While taking out her phone to transfer the money, Zinqing grumbled, you rotten-hearted thing. All you care about is money. Unlike me who values relationships. I glanced at her, then at Wu Dexing, who had been fawning over her from behind. If you value emotional bonds. That's excellent. Uncle Wu holds deep affection for you. In the blink of an eye, the final night of the competition arrived, under the witness of hundreds of millions. Han Zishi, from the same company as Lin Qingyan, emerged as a dark horse to claim the championship, debuting as the center. Many might find this outcome surprising, but I know this young girl's talent truly deserves such recognition. I've seen her practicing dance alone late at night. I've seen her bruised and crying after failing difficult moves, only to get up and try again. I've seen her practicing within 4 drip while running a 40 degrees Celsius fever. To be fair, she works harder and performs better than all the trainees under my management. Now she stands at the center of the stage, holding her trophy under everyone's gaze, crying like a child, sobbing. She expressed endless gratitude to me, saying it was all thanks to me that she reached this position today. On the eve of the competition, rumors had been swirling that I was using capital to suppress trainees from other companies in order to promote my own artists. Many unscrupulous marketing accounts even asserted that the final center position would undoubtedly go to my trainee. 8. However, reality dealt these people a harsh slap in the face. I did indeed leverage capital, but it was used to support Han Zishi. During that period, there were internal rumors among the trainees that Han Zishi was considering withdrawing from the competition. For a girl who loved the stage so much, withdrawing must have been a last resort. Only after sending someone to inquire did I learn that her father had fallen seriously ill and couldn't afford medical treatment. Without hesitation, I covered all her father's medical expenses, relieving her of any worries so she could focus on the competition. Dreams are precious, and children from ordinary families should be even braver in pursuing them. I hope you never give up easily. I'm here for you. I thought after finishing the show's recording, I could stay away from all the drama and get some proper rest for a while, but as fate would have it, the secret formula of G's flagship product was leaked. In the previous life, the G family never recovered after this incident and went completely bankrupt 6 months later. This news caused quite a stir at the time. My sister tearfully told me it was all because of that bitch Lin Qingyan, who, seeing no hope of climbing the social ladder, turned to embrace the president of Guoguan Group instead. The secret formula was something she extracted from Ji Tingxian and leaked out. But in this life, Ji Tingxian follows my every command and has long severed ties with Lin Qingyan. How could he still fall for her tricks? Ji Tingxian stammered. She said if I don't give her the secret recipe, she'll have someone kidnap you. I massaged my forehead. Guess why she doesn't just kidnap me directly? Is it because she doesn't like the idea? I shouted angrily. I go out with 2 bodyguards every day. How the hell would she kidnap me? Do you have a brain? Even if she succeeded, so what? Am I more valuable or is the secret recipe more valuable? You're valuable. You're more valuable than anything. Ji Tingxian answered instantly. Besides, we have so many product lines at home. It's not like we depend on this one product to make a living. I was so angry that my mind went blank, and I really wanted to personally dismantle his head to see what kind of structure was inside. Seeing my expression grow increasingly grim, he whispered, so what do we do now? Mom said to listen to you more. I let out a long sigh and looked out the window. Let me show you the way forward. Why don't you just jump out now? The situation became extremely awkward. But thankfully my phone rang just in time. The moment I answered the call, I heard my mother's hysterical screaming, "Come home quickly, something's happened to your sister." Zinqing was crying her eyes out, barely able to speak coherently, while my mother kept hesitating as if there was something she couldn't bring herself to say. It took me a while to finally understand what had actually happened. To put it simply, my sister was almost raped. And the perpetrator was none other than my mother's new partner, Wu Dexing. I knew my sister was foolish, but I never imagined she could be this stupid. 9. My mother was at a loss. What do we do now? With your sister like this and your uncle Wu gone, how am I supposed to live the rest of my life? Her wailing irritated me, and I snapped. What else can we do? First, report it to the police and get him arrested. We'll figure out the rest later. My mom's face changed drastically upon hearing this. And she frantically tried to stop me. No, no, you can't call the police. If you do, Uncle Wu will be finished. Besides, flies don't land on an uncracked egg. If Ying had been more proper, the man wouldn't have assaulted her. Ha, still the same old mom I know. In my past life, when I told her about that old pervert's intentions toward me, she had the same damn attitude. From that moment, I understood my mom is a complete love addict. She'd rather believe her daughter is a promiscuous lowlife than admit her sweetheart is a dirty old man. Sin King wasn't crying now, but her expression looked even more desperate than before. Seizing the moment when my mom stepped out to use the bathroom, she confronted me. You knew all along what kind of person he was, didn't you? Why didn't you tell me? Ha, of course, how could I not know? I'm just smarter and more decisive than her. When I discovered Wu Dexing's true nature and realized my mother wouldn't stand by me, I fled that hellhole overnight and began living independently. Almost all the money I'd earned before was in my mother's hands, so life after leaving home was extremely tough for me. I also tried seeking help from my wealthy sister, but at the height of her success, she wouldn't even glance my way. 10. Now you dare to accuse me. How shameless. I glared at Xin King and said indignantly. My words left her momentarily stunned. I gave her a contemptuous look. What does it matter if you're reborn? What does it matter if you made different choices? You can see it now too. No matter what you choose, you'll always be the loser. Do you know why? Xin King clenched her lower lip tightly, her expression turning ferocious, her eyes filled with hatred. I moved closer to her, touched her beautiful face, and said with a smile, because you're stupid, you always pin your hopes on others. You've never thought about changing anything by yourself, silly little sister. Even if a fool and good-for-nothing were reborn 100 times, they'd just perform 100 different ways to die like fools. I'll kill you. Suddenly, she recklessly charged forward, grabbing my collar and attempting to choke me. Yet the moment she made her move, bodyguards burst through the door and pinned her to the ground, eliciting screams like a slaughtered pig. I crouched down to examine her closely. Sighing with pity, TSK, did you really think you were still on the same level as me? The fact that I allowed you to get this close was already showing you face, and you actually tried to kill me. Pinned to the ground, she thrashed and writhed frantically like a madwoman. Oh, I can't say she's like a madwoman. Given her condition, she must truly be insane. That very night, my mom called me in tears. What do we do? Your sister went crazy and jumped into the river. She was lucky to be pulled out in time, but even before jumping, she was already acting deranged. The shock of the icy water made her mind even more unstable. Now she goes berserk at the sight of men and turns violent. My mother had no choice but to pay out of her own pocket to send her to a mental hospital. Are you sure you won't help? Your mother is really struggling, Ji Tingxian cautiously asked. His eyes secretly glancing in my direction, like an old eunuch awaiting an imperial decree. I gave him a disdainful look. Don't bother. Her perception matches the suffering she's endured. You'd better worry about your own affairs. I've heard the workers haven't been paid for over 2 months and are about to cause trouble. He patted his chest and said, don't worry about this. I already have a solution. Just wait a couple days to see your man perform. I looked at him with skepticism, muttering to myself, can I really trust him? I have to say, when it comes to being disappointing, Ji Tingxian never lets me down. Within days, he answered my doubts with his actions, not a shred of credibility. 11. He gathered employee representatives from the company and held what he called a mobilization meeting. Seeing his smug and self-satisfied look, I thought he had actually come up with a good solution to overcome the crisis. Who knew he would propose suspending workers' wages and then deliver a lengthy speech? I know everyone is also struggling, so I'm willing to lead by example. Starting today, I, Ji Tingxian, will also stop receiving my salary like everyone else. I believe that as long as we all work together, we can definitely overcome this difficult time. The stench of this capitalist bloodsucker made me sick to my stomach. How could the worker representatives below the stage listen to his nonsense? They were all shouting to beat him up. Just as the situation was about to spiral out of control, a figure strode heroically onto the podium, raised a thin rod in hand, and swung it straight at Ji Tingxian's back. The crowd below instantly fell silent. Ji Tingxian froze for 2 seconds, turned to look back with an expression of utter disbelief. The one who hit him was none other than his own mother, and the one who handed over the stick was none other than his own wife. This strike is for my fellow workers. My mother-in-law held the stick in her hand, her face stern and serious. You're a rich kid from a wealthy family. Of course you don't rely on salary to get by, but have you ever thought about how these ordinary workers can support their families without wages? The anger on my mother-in-law's face gradually faded. replaced by frustration. I never let you suffer any hardship, but I never thought this would harm you, turning you into such a useless person. Ji Tingxian rubbed his sore back, looking aggrieved. My mother-in-law pushed him aside with disgust, then turned to me with a smile and beckoned for me to come on stage. Regarding the company's future, everyone need not worry. I hereby promise that salaries will be paid as usual within the next 2 months. If the company cannot continue operations after 2 months, I will pay everyone the corresponding compensation in accordance with legal regulations, but I believe we won't reach that point. Because my good daughter-in-law has already prepared a complete set of contingency plans for this crisis. As she spoke, she gently took my hand. Oh wait, I should address you as former Chairman Zheng. I now officially announce that Ji Tingxian is stepping down from the position of chairman. A familiar female voice rang out from behind the crowd. Zheng Qihan, don't celebrate too soon. I've spent a fortune to secure connections with the Zhang family. Your raw material supply chain will be cut off soon. Even with all your capabilities, you won't be able to revive this losing game. Lin Qingyan arrived uninvited, with vengeance achieved practically written across her face. Ji Tingxian, you abandoned me, your old flame, for your new wife. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Bet you never expected that the family business your parents built would be destroyed by me alone. She walked through the crowd, surrounded by bodyguards, and stopped before me with a provocative look. Zheng Qihan, you stole the position that rightfully belonged to me. You're really asking for death. Ji Tingxian shielded me behind him and began delivering his domineering CEO lines. If you're deliberately trying to provoke me, let me tell you, you've succeeded. Get out of here, I impatiently said, grabbing Ji Tingxian by the collar and yanking him backward, throwing him behind me. I stepped forward to meet Lin Qingyan's challenging gaze, not backing down in the slightest. 12. You don't actually think you've won, do you? In the previous life, Guoguan Group secured victory by cutting off G Group's raw material supply. Coincidentally, I worked as a live-in nanny in my past life, and my employer Zhang Weiping was actually the owner of G Group's raw material supplier. But by then, the situation was already irreversible, and I could do nothing about it. This time was different, when I noticed events unfolding along the same trajectory. I anticipated Lin Qingyan's next move and proactively reached out to Zhang Weiping first. Zhang Weiping divorced early in life and never remarried, raising his 5.5-year-old daughter Miao Miao alone, spoiling her rotten. Miao Miao had been an extremely picky eater since childhood, never eating properly. For her sake, Zhang Weiping spent no small amount of money hiring specialists to adjust her diet, but to little effect, until I came along. It took me just over half a year to cure the little girl of her picky eating habits. Once her eating normalized, her temperament improved significantly, for which Zhang Weiping was deeply grateful to me. Since I had Miao Miao completely figured out in my past life, handling her this time would naturally be a piece of cake. The Ji and Zhang families have been business partners for years, leveraging this relationship. I invited the father and daughter to the dinner party and presented them with a chestnut cake I personally made, Miao Miao's absolute favorite. The little girl instantly fell in love with it, devouring several pieces. Zhang Weiping was utterly astonished and insisted on getting the recipe, claiming he'd pay any amount for it. I didn't want his money, but I demanded his guarantee of a steady supply of raw materials. He agreed readily and went home satisfied with my recipe. My mother-in-law expressed concern. Aren't you afraid he might go back on his word? Don't worry, even if Lin Qingyan tries to tempt him with benefits again in the future, I dare guarantee he won't go back on his word. That chestnut cake, Miao Miao would get tired of it after eating for 10 days to half a month, and then he'd have to come begging me again, and I have hundreds of recipes for foods Miao Miao loves, enough to keep him hooked for over a decade. After answering a phone call, Lin Qingyan's face turned alternately green and purple, looking utterly dreadful. I sneered, what's wrong? Not laughing anymore, is it just not in your nature to laugh? Seeing her rendered speechless by my retort, I pressed my advantage. It was Zhang Weiping who called you, wasn't it? Did he tell you he wouldn't agree to your demands? Oh dear, it seems he doesn't want your dirty money. Furious, she rushed forward and started grappling with me. Though Ji Tingxian was mentally incompetent, his reflexes were sharp enough. He grabbed Lin Qingyan's arm and shoved her back violently. How dare you lay hands on a woman belonging to Ji Tingxian? At this moment, the domineering CEO's lines don't seem quite so nauseating anymore. Lin Qingyan stumbled from the push, signaling with her eyes for the bodyguard brothers nearby to step in immediately. To be honest, I'm quite curious to see if a battle-damaged Ji Tingxian would be more pleasing to the eye. But reason tells me that if a real fight breaks out, the consequences might go far beyond just battle scars, so I spoke up to stop them. Big Brother's protecting her now, when she ends up in court later and you can't get your wages. Don't say I didn't warn you beforehand. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Oh, you don't know yet. I've already submitted materials to the relevant departments, accusing you of infringing trade secrets and engaging in unfair competition. The money you gave to Zhang Weiping has also been submitted as evidence. What should we do? Someone might end up in jail. Lin Qingyan's stress tolerance was too poor, and she fainted on stage. Jia Tingshuan gave me a big thumbs up. Honey, you're amazing. What would I do without you? Get lost. If it weren't for fear of mom's hard work going to waste, I wouldn't bother cleaning up your mess. When I say the Ji family business was my mother-in-law's life's work, I'm not exaggerating at all. She told me about her struggles in her youth. Back then, my father-in-law was just a greenhorn who lost money in every business venture, becoming the laughingstock of the whole village. It wasn't until he married my mother-in-law that things started looking up. Later on, when the Ji family enterprise was established, my mother-in-law was even busier, attending to every single matter without exception. You have no idea how those years wore me down. My health deteriorated. The doctor warned that if I kept pushing myself like this, I wouldn't be able to keep the baby in my womb. My mother-in-law recalled the past with a bitter expression. But even after all these years of dedicating myself to the company, I never got an official position. Tingshuan's damn father always said women couldn't be trusted with important responsibilities. What nonsense. She sounded resentful but suddenly grew smug. No matter how much he schemed, he never expected to die young. After his death, both our son and the company had to listen to me. Just thinking about it makes me feel vindicated. 13. My mother-in-law is usually an elegant lady, but I never expected her to have such an attitude when talking about her late husband. I found it somewhat absurd, but mostly endearing. I smiled and said, luckily, Tingxian isn't like his father. He's quite supportive of me taking over the company. How dare he not support you? My mother-in-law took my hand and said gently, my dear, you must remember that we women are no less capable than those big men. There's no need for us to always stay behind and support them. I understood her meaning perfectly and nodded with a smile. After much deliberation, I still chose to report to the police behind my mother's back, and Wu Dexing was sentenced to 6 years in prison. On the day of the arrest, my mother came to make a scene with me, saying I had ruined her happiness for the rest of her life. I told her that wasn't the case. Happiness was still possible. So I promptly sent her to the happy retirement home. Ji Tingxian was sent to the grassroots level for training. As my mother-in-law put it, he needed to experience all the hardships he had missed out on over the past 30 years, so he wouldn't be so useless. To ensure he wouldn't receive any special treatment, my mother-in-law deliberately concealed his identity and sent him to the most remote factory under the company's subsidiary. At first, Ji Tingxian cried and made a scene like a spoiled brat refusing to go to school. This situation ended on the day he received his salary, with a monthly pay of 1,500 yuan. He carried himself like he'd earned 15 million. That day he called me in sheer delight to boast about his fortune of 1,500 yuan. Did you know? This is the first time I've earned money through my own labor. For the first time, I feel my existence has meaning. That meaning is work. From then on, Ji Tingxian became increasingly motivated. By carrying heavy loads at the factory, he repeatedly earned recognition as an advanced worker. I used to think I'd ruined him by how I raised him, but it turns out I just chose the wrong path. He's actually the physical labor type. My mother-in-law dropped this remark and, pulling her suitcase, embarked on her vacation journey. As for me, I wasn't so leisurely. Both the Ji family business and my entertainment company were thriving. I was busy making money and counting it, overwhelmed with work. This bittersweet feeling is truly fascinating. Story 2. My best friend has found a system that can absorb other people's luck. As soon as I heard the system voice, I immediately packed my things and fled in a hurry, because I was reborn and knew that the first unlucky person she would try to absorb luck from was me. In my previous life, she sucked away all my luck, although I was the top student in my grade. I failed the college entrance examination. Despite being in good health, I died of a terminal illness. This time around, I will definitely make sure that she can never absorb anyone's luck again. 1. At the beginning of the second year of senior high school, the class rearranged seats according to the grades of the previous semester, holding the report card showing that I was the first in the grade. I walked to the middle of the first row. The classmates in the class all cast sidelong glances at me, looking at me in surprise. Before this, I had always been desk mates with my good best friend and we sat in the last 2 rows. Jiang Fanqing, Lin Yuewei came over and approached me, looking utterly confused. What are you doing? I put my school bag in the desk drawer and gently pointed at the desk with my chin. Changing seats. Lin Yue's body stiffened, and her eyes widened. You want to change seats? Why? Because the voice of your system is so loud that it disturbs me from having classes. I slightly turned my body and pushed Lin Yue away. Immediately, the system voice on her body rang out, disconnected from the target. The attempt to absorb luck failed. Please try again. I was reborn. I was reborn back to the second year of senior high school. Before I started having bad luck, in my previous life, in order to tutor Lin Yue, I sat at the back of the classroom with her. Then, not long after, I started to catch colds and have fevers frequently, and even fell down on flat ground, especially during exams. As soon as I entered the examination room, I would have a fever. As soon as I picked up the exam paper, I would have a headache. Even if I didn't feel uncomfortable, I would get injured and bleed due to bumps and bruises. And couldn't take the exam normally. Once or twice might be a coincidence, but having a fever and having accidents every time couldn't help but draw attention. My parents took me to see the most authoritative doctor. However, when the examination report came out, there was nothing wrong with me. The doctor said that my body was very healthy, and it might be a psychological problem. He suggested that I take a year off from school to adjust my mindset at home. Otherwise, in my current state, I wouldn't be able to take the college entrance examination. I followed the doctor's advice and applied for a leave of absence from school. During the year of my leave of absence, I never had a fever again, and there were no more accidents. I thought I was okay. However, during the college entrance examination, I had a fever for 3 consecutive days, reaching 42 degrees Celsius, and it wouldn't go down. Taking medicine, getting injections, and having infusions didn't work. As soon as I entered the examination room, my head would ache unbearably. I finished the exam with a nosebleed. As soon as I left the examination room, I knew I was finished. Sure enough, when the college entrance examination results came out, I scored more than 200 points and couldn't even get into a junior college. My teacher knew my academic level and advised me to repeat the senior year. Unfortunately, before I could sign up, I was diagnosed with advanced brain cancer. Obviously, there were no signs when I had a physical examination a month ago. My cancer cells spread and deteriorated very quickly. 2 days after I was admitted to the hospital, I was issued a death notice. The speed was so fast that I no longer had any fear of death. In the hospital ward, my relatives, friends, teachers, and classmates all felt sorry for me, especially my best friend who took a year off from school with me. She cried the most sorrowfully, almost heartbroken. Lin Yue was my closest friend. After she knew that I had taken a leave of absence from school due to illness, in order to accompany me, she also applied for a leave of absence. I was very touched and tried to persuade her countless times, but she wouldn't listen. I could only let her come to my home, and the tutor gave us tutoring together. During the leave of absence, we attended classes together, did exercise questions together, had meals together, and even slept together. We were as close as sisters and inseparable. Later, she performed exceptionally well and was admitted to the university that all students dreamed of. I was sincerely happy for her, but before I died, I heard the system voice coming from her body. The target's luck has been completely absorbed. Congratulations to the host for completing the task and successfully changing your fate. Only then did I know that she had been absorbing my luck all along. 2. After I died, my soul remained. I followed Lin Yue every day. I watched her keep looking for targets. Through physical contact or collecting hair, she continued to absorb other people's luck. I wanted to stop her, but I was powerless. In just 7 years, with the good luck she absorbed, she went from a poor student who received a student grant to a powerful business leader. At a young age, she was on the Forbes list. Her reputation spread throughout the world, and she became an example for countless entrepreneurs to follow. Of course, during this period, many people died unexpectedly. After reaching the peak of her life, the system accomplished its mission and disappeared without a trace. Without the cheat system, Lin Yue wisely chose to retire and married into a wealthy family with hundreds of millions of assets. However, it's not easy to live in a wealthy family. The intrigues within those wealthy families are even more dangerous than the deception and business struggles. Without the system, Lin Yue had nothing but money. She was quickly eaten up by her overbearing in-laws. Finally, she died in a carefully arranged accident. At the scene of the car accident, before I could gloat, I heard the system voice that had disappeared for a long time ring out again. Detected that the host's health value is 0. Do you choose to prepay 100 million luck points to activate time regression? Then, I was reborn along with Lin Yue. The first thing she did after being reborn was to lock onto me with the system without even a second of hesitation. Listening to the system voice on her body, I secretly laughed. since I was also reborn, in this life, it's absolutely impossible for her to absorb anyone's luck again. 3. The classroom was noisy. The classmates were choosing seats according to their grades. Seeing that I had no intention of getting up, Lin Yue looked impatient and reached out to drag me. Stop making trouble. Class is about to start, come back with me. In my previous life, she didn't dare to be so tough with me. She was really so spoiled by money and power that she forgot who she was. I slapped her hand away. Who are you? It's my freedom to choose where to sit. Aren't you meddling a bit too much? As soon as I said this, the noisy classroom fell silent instantly. Everyone couldn't believe that I would speak harshly to Lin Yue, because I had always been very kind to Lin Yue. Her family conditions were not good. Her parents divorced and each remarried. No one took care of her. I used my pocket money to pay for her tuition and living expenses. She had a bad stomach. I asked the nanny at home to regulate her diet. She had special meals for 3 meals a day, and I also accompanied her to exercise. She didn't study well. I changed seats and dormitories, paid out of my own pocket to buy exercise books and study materials, and tutored her personally. We also made an agreement to get into the same university. In the eyes of others, Lin Yue was a better best friend than my own mother. So at this moment, when I left her alone and sat in the front row, everyone was confused, including Lin Yue. What's wrong with you? Are you still minding that I'm getting too close to the people in the next class? Can you stop being unreasonable? It's my freedom to make friends with whomever I want. Aren't you also meddling a bit too much? The class beauty in the next class was her second target in the previous life. The two of them became best friends only after they entered university. In this life, Lin Yue should be planning to deal with me and then immediately move on to the next target, so she has been deliberately approaching the other person these days. The class beauty didn't know anything and naively made friends with her, and I couldn't avoid her fast enough, so how could I mind? You can make friends with whomever you like. What does it have to do with me? Lin Yue snickered, as if she had heard a joke. I'm laughing so hard. Who was the one shamelessly begging to be my deskmate and roommate? Who was the one following me around every day? Do you want me to play the recording of you begging the teacher for everyone to hear? To be honest, I was a bit embarrassed to be entangled with someone of this level in front of so many people. It was really embarrassing. Lin Yue looked very proud, and I was simply speechless. Whatever you want, do whatever you want, just don't bother me. My disdainful look angered Lin Yue. She couldn't hold her face and became furious, unleashing her trump card. In that case, let's break up our friendship. Before, she was very good at pretending to be pitiful and weak, and then pretending to cry and say that we should break up. I would basically compromise. She always thought that I would fall for this, but that was in the previous life. Okay. When she heard my answer, Lin Yue's face turned pale, and she looked a bit disbelieving. What did you say? Did you hear me clearly? I said we should break up our friendship. Do you think I'm joking? I'm telling you, I'm angry. The consequences will be serious. I will never talk to you again. And it's impossible for me to say a single word to you. If you apologize now, I can take back what I just said. You're so fake. Fine, okay, sure. If you want to break up, then let's break up. Don't you ever regret it. She was so angry that she completely lost her composure. I covered my tortured ears. Okay, just go away. You. The class bell rang, and it was time for class to start. Lin Yue looked at the head teacher who came in. It seemed that she remembered something. Her irritability suddenly disappeared, and she inexplicably raised the corners of her mouth. Then she stretched out her finger and pointed to the seat next to me. Wang shouted, make an arrangement. I want to sit here. There was an uproar in the class. When the head teacher heard his own name suddenly, he was also slightly taken aback. After reacting, he pushed his glasses and said sternly, just because you are ranked where you are, you want to sit in the first row, can't you see? Why don't you get a pair of glasses? There are so many people wearing glasses at the back who haven't said anything. Are you the only one who can't see? The rule of arranging seats in our class according to grades was set at the beginning of the first year of senior high school. On what basis are you making an exception? The head teacher lectured Lin Yue. Lin Yue listened with a gloomy expression, her eyes blazing with anger, as if she was enduring a great humiliation. After gnashing her teeth for a long time, she finally managed to squeeze out a harsh word. Fine, I'll remember you. Don't come to me for help in the future. For goodness sake, wake up. Can she ever figure out her own identity? Does she still think she's a business leader who influences international finance? Was it with this stupid brain that she became a CEO in the previous life? I gritted my teeth and covered my mouth to stop myself from laughing. The head teacher over there had been so angry that he laughed. Go. If you don't want to attend class, stand at the door. Don't act crazy here. Being scolded by the teacher in front of so many people, Lin Yuewei was so angry that her chest heaved violently. Finally, she gave me a vicious glare and walked out of the classroom, but I knew she would come back to me, because after she locked onto me, she couldn't absorb luck from others, and she still owes the system 100 million luck points. There is interest on that. If she can't pay the fixed amount every month, she will have really bad luck. 3. I thought she would come to pester me as soon as class was over, but a whole day passed, and she didn't come to me even once, nor did she say a word to me. When someone asked about it, she looked indifferent and said that she didn't lack a best friend, and there were plenty of people who wanted to be friends with her. That haughty attitude clearly showed that she still hadn't woken up from the glory and wealth of her previous life. I didn't respond and just focused on my studies. Now the whole class was sure that we had fallen out. There were some people who liked to watch the excitement and came over to ask me when I would apologize. After all, I was known for having a bad temper but being quick to calm down. Every time I had a conflict with Lin Yuewei before, I was the one who took the initiative to make up. The rich second generation coaxing the poor girl was the most popular drama they liked to watch. Unfortunately, this time they were destined to be disappointed. After the last class ended, I got up and left the classroom. Our school is a full boarding school. We can't leave the school at night. After a 40-minute break, we still have 2 big self-study sessions. I have to hurry to the cafeteria to eat during this time. I slowly moved with the crowd going downstairs. Lin Yuewei strode past me, chatting and laughing with several girls, and she glanced at me from time to time. She exuded an unimaginable childishness all over. Seeing this, my problem of feeling embarrassed for others flared up again. They chattered and entered the cafeteria. I had goosebumps all over and quickened my pace towards the school gate. Just as I was about to walk out of the school gate, the system voice suddenly sounded behind me, and Lin Yuewei suddenly grabbed me. Jiang Fanqing, where are you going? There are several teachers on duty at the school gate every night after school, in case there are students who sneak out. Her shout drew the attention of all the teachers to me. The director of the teaching affairs office walked up to me with his arms crossed. Which class are you from? I shook off Lin Yuewei's grip. Jiang Fanqing, class 7, grade 2 of senior high school. The director of the teaching affairs office confirmed the name on my school uniform, looked at the list in his hand, and stepped aside to let me pass. Okay, go ahead. I thanked the director of the teaching affairs office and was just about to step forward. Unexpectedly, Lin Yuewei grabbed me back again. Stop, you can't leave. I stumbled because of her pull. The director of the teaching affairs office saw this and loudly reprimanded us. What are you doing? What kind of behavior is it to be pulling and tugging at the school gate? Lin Yuewei's previous calmness was all an act. Now that she saw that I was about to leave the school, she finally got anxious. Why don't you stop her from leaving the school? Can the top student in the grade do whatever they want? Upon hearing this, the director of the teaching affairs office explained seriously, she has applied for day study. She can leave after school. Lin Yuewei's expression changed, and she turned to question me. What? You applied for day study? When? Why didn't you tell me? I broke free from her hand and smiled at her flustered expression. Is it any of your business? After saying that, I walked out of the school gate without looking back. Wait a minute, don't go yet. Jiang Fanqing, you can't leave. Lin Yuewei behind me still wanted to rush over and grab me, but she was stopped by the director of the teaching affairs office and several other teachers. Which class are you from? Instead of going to the self-study session, you're here at the school gate meddling in whether others go home or not. Do you want to sneak out? Go back to your classroom, otherwise, I'll call your parents to come and take you home. Lin Yuewei didn't care about anyone else now. Jiang Fanqing, stop. If you leave today, don't expect me to forgive you in the future. We were both reborn. Why is it that her brain seems to have been refreshed? I didn't even bother to give her a glance and just went out and took a car home. When I got home, my parents hadn't come back from work yet, and the nanny left after cooking. I had dinner, took a shower, and did my homework alone. When I finished the last exam paper and was about to go to bed, I found that my phone had run out of battery. It was fully charged when I took a taxi. I was puzzled. Plugged it into charge and turned it on. Immediately, countless missed calls and messages popped up on my phone. They were all from Lin Yuewei. Fanqing, answer the phone. Jiang Fanqing, where are you? Call me back when you see this. Come out and pick me up. Why is there no one at your home? Where are you living now? If you don't answer the phone, I'll call the police. Why aren't you answering the phone? Where are you? Answer the phone. Answer the phone. I'm telling you to answer the phone. I'm calling the police. Jiang Fanqing, there's an exam tomorrow. If you have the guts, don't go out. I roughly counted, In the 3 hours from after school until now, Lin Yuewei had sent me no less than 300 messages, both calls and WeChat. All the content was asking where I was and telling me to go find her. Later, it seemed that she ran out of the school and went to my home to look for me. She was simply crazy, fortunately. I had the foresight to move into the new house my mom bought, otherwise, I would have been driven crazy by this madwoman tonight. I directly blocked and deleted her. After the operation, I found a new group in WeChat with over 999 plus messages. The group was full of my classmates from the same class, and there were also a few from other classes, but Lin Yuewei wasn't in it. What happened? Out of curiosity, I clicked in and scrolled to the top to see a video. In the video, Lin Yuewei was scolding the director of the teaching affairs office at the school gate. The person filming was very close, and the picture was clear. With clear sound, Lin Yuewei was seen standing with one hand on her hip and pointing at the director of the teaching affairs office's nose. Do you know who you're talking to? Even the director of the education bureau treats me with respect. Who the hell are you? I'm warning you. I'm different from others. You can't afford to mess with me. Get out of the way before I lose my patience. Don't make me say it a second time, otherwise, you'll be fired. The onlookers at the school gate were obviously shocked by Lin Yuewei. There were exclamations of fuck in the noisy background sound. The director of the teaching affairs office suppressed his anger and grabbed the cursing Lin Yuewei and walked towards the administrative building. The video ended here, and there were uniform fuck. That's awesome in the group, explosive. Is there anyone at the scene? Come out and explain. Lin Yuewei is really awesome. An emoji of an old man on the subway looking at his phone, daring to scold the director of the teaching affairs office. I'd call her the strongest in one middle school. Damn it, isn't this the real Lan Outyen? Wait, don't you think her aura is very different? I don't think she's joking. Maybe Lin Yuewei really has some special background. What background could she have? I don't know. Ask your class monitor. Aren't they on good terms now? At Brilliant as Stars, they had a fight. They ignored each other today and have been in a cold war for a whole day. There's something going on. The monitor must know something. There were too many messages in the group. I flipped through and looked at a couple of them and picked a few to reply to. My phone was on mute and I didn't see it. Her affairs have nothing to do with me. Going to sleep. There's an exam tomorrow. Everyone go to sleep quickly. After replying to the messages, I turned my phone to flight mode, covered myself with the quilt, and went to sleep. Tomorrow is the day when I had a fever during the first exam in my previous life. I didn't do well in the exam because of a cold last time. This time, away from Lin Yuewei, I must do well in the exam and get back my first place. 4. The exam the next day went very smoothly. There was no fever, no falling, no splitting headache, no nosebleed. There were no unlucky accidents at all. Leaving the examination room, I couldn't control the upward curve of my mouth and felt my whole body slightly trembling. Finally, things were back to normal. In my previous life, being unable to take the exam had become my shadow. I was eager to prove myself, but the more anxious I was, the unluckier I became. At that time, Lin Yuewei was always by my side, accompanying me, comforting me, and encouraging me. I was very touched and regarded her as my only close friend, but I didn't know that she was the one who caused my continuous bad luck. At this moment, the culprit should be in the police station being criticized and educated by the police uncle, because she made a ruckus in front of my old house, which had already been emptied, all night. That house has one household per floor and there's no problem of disturbing the neighbors. She was banging on the door all night, being very persistent. Jiang Fanqing, come out, I know you're home, let's talk. I shouldn't have been harsh on you before. I'm apologizing to you. What's wrong with you? Why did you suddenly ignore me? Open the door and make it clear. Is it because of Wang Ziki from class 5? I won't talk to her anymore. Okay, I won't get too close to anyone else except you in the future. I'll only be friends with you. Are you satisfied now, Fanqing? Aren't we good sisters? Let me in, okay, Jiang Fanqing. My patience has limits. If you don't open the door, I'll call the police. Hello, locksmith company. I forgot the password and need to unlock the door. Why can't you open it? How dare you question me, a locksmith? Do you believe that I can make you unable to survive in City A? In the morning, Lin Yuewei still hadn't left. I sent the surveillance video to the property management. The property management, accompanied by security guards, came to verify that Lin Yuewei was not the owner. They decisively chose to call the police. When the police came and asked her to leave immediately, Lin Yuewei refused to leave. During the scuffle, Lin Yuewei even angrily slapped a policeman and boasted that she had connections in the police station. She said that whoever dared to touch her would make their life a living hell. As soon as she said this, the police uncle immediately gave her 3 warnings and a pepper spray treatment. I controlled the surveillance in front of the anti-theft door and sent the scene of her going crazy and being irritable to the group that was newly created yesterday. What on earth happened to her? Besides fuck, all I can say is awesome. Is she crazy? Damn, that's so scary. What kind of perverted behavior is this? Was she this kind of person all along? Monitor. Did you kill her whole family? At Brilliant as Stars, this is a surveillance video, right? Where is she? In front of my house. It said that she secretly ran out of the school yesterday, so she went to your home. Damn, that's scary. I thought she was quite gentle before. Why has she become like this now? Scary. Stay away from her in the future. Be careful of getting entangled with her. Without knowing the whole story, don't comment. Damn. Who is this? So bold. No matter what the problem is between them, Lin Yue's behavior of trying to unlock someone else's door is illegal. There's nothing wrong with staying away from this kind of person. Yeah, she even dared to assault a police officer. Is she crazy? Today is the exam, and some people haven't come out of the examination room yet. There are only a few people in the group, but the discussion is extremely hot, no matter what was said. Everyone realized that they should keep a distance from Lin Yue. Seeing that my goal was achieved, I went out, took a car, and left the school. At this time, Lin Yue came running over panting. We looked at each other through the car window. Oh, she finally realized that she was in the wrong place. The moment she saw me, her pupils suddenly contracted, and uncontrollable anger burst out in her eyes. Jiang Fanqing. Lin Yue hadn't slept all night. Her face was pale, her hair was messy. Her eyes were red and swollen, and her eyes were fierce. She looked like she was in an abnormal mental state. She rushed up and violently yanked the door handle, which startled Uncle Lu, our driver who had a background in Sonda. I patted the driver's seat to indicate that he didn't need to worry. Uncle Lu immediately stepped on the gas and drove away. Seeing that the car didn't stop, Lin Yue grabbed the car door and chased after it fiercely. But how could 2 legs catch up with 4 wheels? Jiang Fanqing, get out of the car. Where are you going? Come back. Lin Yue chased after the car, screaming at the top of her lungs. Her figure got smaller and smaller. I rolled down the car window and waved at her. She became even more irritable. This hysterical and impotently furious look was really pleasing to the eye. Uncle Lu was still in shock. He drove all the way to the airport at high speed, surprisingly. He arrived a quarter of an hour early without speeding or breaking any traffic rules. The nanny had already packed her things and was waiting in advance. I took the boarding pass, boarded the plane, and took my seat. The flight attendant reminded us to turn off our phones or put them in flight mode. Touching my phone, which had been vibrating nonstop and was already getting hot, I suddenly felt that it might be a bit too heartless not to say a word, so I held up my plane ticket, took a selfie, and posted it on my Moments. I'm emigrating. See you if we're destined to meet again. 5. In fact, I was just representing the school to participate in a competition. The training and the exam would take at most half a month. As long as one made a little inquiry, they could know my whereabouts. However, Lin Yue wasn't a person who focused on her studies in her previous life. She wasn't interested in the competitions organized by the school at all and didn't know any information about the competitions. In this life, she had a dispute with the director of the teaching affairs office again, offended the school leaders in advance, and lost all her good impression in front of the teachers. She had no way to inquire, among the classmates, with my intentional or unintentional reminders. A tacit understanding of keeping a respectful distance from her was formed, and she was gradually isolated. So after I suddenly left, Lin Yue completely went crazy. I didn't know exactly how crazy she was because I turned off my phone every day. I only heard from my classmates who participated in the competition together that she saw my Moments from someone else. First, she made a big scene in front of the head teacher, blaming the head teacher for giving students leave without permission and threatening to report to the education bureau. Then she went to the entrance of my mom's company to make a scene, saying that my family was xenophobic and had the suspicion of embezzlement and absconding with money. Finally, she went to the police station to report me, saying that I had illegally left the country and insisting that the police arrest me and bring me back. The police didn't accept her case. She even brought out the leaders from the provincial department to pressure them and was criticized by the police and driven out again. There were too many absurd things about her. Every night when I returned to the hotel, I would first turn on my phone and look at the gossip on WeChat for a while to relieve my tiredness of the day. Because of her, I combined work and rest during this competition and performed quite well. I should be able to get a good result. Half a month passed in a flash. The competition ended soon, and it was time for me to go back to school. Someone in the group reminded me that Lin Yuewei somehow got the news. She suddenly stopped causing trouble these 2 days and became very quiet. Moreover, she didn't know by what means she had changed seats with the physics class representative. When I went back, I would be at the same table as her. I said I didn't care. She could sit wherever she wanted. I couldn't control that. However, based on my understanding of Lin Yuewei, she would definitely play some other dirty tricks. And she must have been holding back a big one. The next day when I returned to school, as soon as I showed up, Lin Yuewei blocked my way. Just like before, she looked at me pitifully. I'm sorry, Fanqing, I was wrong before, let's make up. She seemed to have lost her memory and forgotten about her previous crazy behavior. Okay, I've apologized now. Hurry up and move back. I haven't eaten well these days when you were away. Look, I've lost weight. They look down on people and dare to exclude me. Now no one in the class talks to me. I only have you. You can't ignore me. I sneered and completely ignored her. I turned around and walked around her towards the teaching building. Lin Yuewei was ignored by me. She controlled her expression and tightly grabbed me. That's enough, Jiang Fanqing. I've already apologized. What else do you want? I forcefully shook her off. I just want to stay away from you. Are you shameless? We've broken up, and you still follow me around and harass me every day. Aren't you cheap? During the morning self-study, there were many students cleaning the playground. When they passed by and saw the two of us, they took out their phones with a gossipy look and sent messages. I don't know which action of theirs stimulated Lin Yuewei. She broke down and started yelling, Jiang Fanqing, you're the cheap one, get it straight. It was you who begged me to be your best friend, not me begging you. I'm giving you a way out now. Don't be ungrateful. I took out my phone and waved it. I'm laughing so hard. A way out. Who was it that called and texted me every day, even after being blocked? You still harassed me with strange numbers. Do you want me to post the text messages where you apologized and begged for forgiveness for everyone to see? Half a month ago, she used these words to mock me. Now it's my turn to mock her. Lin Yuewei had been a CEO for a lifetime. How could she stand this? She immediately put on an expression of not caring at all. Fine, you're amazing. Someday you'll regret it and beg me. Just you wait. With that, she turned around and left, walking into the No. 2 teaching building with a gloomy face all the way. I didn't expect that after not seeing her for half a month, she became even more irritable. I patted the non-existent dust on my body, waved to the others around me, and turned to leave. All the way, there were classmates who gossiped with me about Lin Yuewei. When they saw me turn and walk towards the No. 1 teaching building, they all widened their eyes in surprise. Hey, did you go the wrong way? I shook my head. No, I'm going to take the competition route from now on. So I applied to transfer classes. The classmate covered her mouth and laughed heartily. Ha ha ha, there's going to be a good show later. Lin Yuewei has been going crazy looking for you since you left. She finally waited for you to come back, and now you're transferring classes. She'll probably go crazy again when she finds out. What on earth happened between you two? Why does she keep pestering you? Because she wants to absorb my luck. If I said this, no one would believe me. They would definitely think I was the crazy one. I smiled helplessly and didn't answer. The preparatory bell rang. Everyone quickly went upstairs and back to their classrooms. I also entered the new class along with the bell. The new class had a stronger learning atmosphere. Everyone was busy with their own things and wouldn't pay too much attention to others. I simply introduced myself and then randomly found a seat to sit down and started doing exercises. 10 minutes later, my phone started vibrating. It was an unknown number. Where are you? Why aren't you in class yet? I didn't even need to guess the tone. It must have been sent by Lin Yuewei. I turned off my phone, ignored it, and lowered my head to do the exercises. 6. Halfway through the class, Lin Yuewei's shrill screams came from the corridor. Jiang Fanqing. The class was interrupted, and the whole class looked at Lin Yuewei, who burst in suddenly, with a dazed expression. Lin Yuewei pushed open the classroom door and rushed over like crazy to pull my hair. You bitch, what are you showing off for? Do you really think I can't live without you? Transferring classes. Who do you think you are? So what if you're a rich second generation? Big deal. Your first in grade ranking was bought with money. Do you think I don't know? I didn't want to break up with you, but you forced me. I kicked her down. The classmates in the class saw that she was acting crazy and quickly came up to stop the fight. Lin Yuewei was pulled away. She looked at the hair tangled in her hands with a frenzied expression and muttered to herself, It's too late. I couldn't help but laugh. Calculating the time, it should be the time to return the system's luck. If she can't pay it back, her own luck will be deducted instead. Lin Yuewei knew best the consequences of losing luck, so she was desperate and wanted to pull my hair. she had two ways to absorb people's luck. The first way was to have physical contact with the target. This way, she could absorb more, but only slowly. The second way was to collect the target's hair to open a remote channel. This way, she could absorb less, but it was fast, and she didn't need to get close to the target. In the previous life, in the later stage, Lin Yuewei absorbed other people's luck through the second method. She killed many people and was investigated by the police, but with Lin Yuewei's status at that time, she disdained to spend extra time flattering the target. If there were any lives involved, there would always be someone to settle it for her. In this life, Lin Yuewei needed a large amount of luck and didn't have the ability to deal with homicide cases, so she chose the first method, but she didn't expect that she couldn't get close to me. Lin Yuewei's eyes were full of ferocity. She struggled, frantically, to get close to me but was stopped by others. The head teacher ran in panting and came up to drag her, gnashing his teeth. Lin Yuewei, you don't need to attend class anymore. Get out of here right now. Last time, Lin Yuewei scolded the director of the teaching affairs office. She also left the school privately at night and was given a demerit. She made a scene in front of my house, assaulted a police officer, and had a bad attitude, so she was criticized and educated. When I participated in the competition, she skipped classes and reported the school. She hadn't been dealt with yet, judging from Teacher Wang's words. The school originally wanted to expel her. Now that she still didn't repent and continued to act crazy, she was likely to be expelled, but Lin Yuewei didn't care at all. She just stared at me with gloomy eyes, her face cold. The commotion in the class was too big. Many teachers came to help. When the director of the Political and Educational Affairs office came in and saw that it was her again, he mercilessly dragged the screaming and cursing Lin Yuewei out of the classroom. At noon when school was over that day, someone came to tell me that Lin Yuewei had been expelled and her family was making trouble at the school. Through the video sent by others in the group, I saw her father and mother, along with their respective elders and children, surrounding and scolding the head teacher on the playground. They said that Lin Yuewei had gone bad at school and the school should be responsible for her future life. They not only demanded huge compensation but also asked the school to recommend Lin Yuewei to Tsinghua University. If the requirements were not met, Lin Yuewei's younger brother and sister should be admitted as special cases, and all the tuition fees from junior high school to high school should be waived. The group was in an uproar. Some people thought that Lin Yuewei's family was daydreaming and her craziness was genetic. Some people thought that Lin Yuewei was pitiful. Her biological parents didn't care about her and instead wanted to use her as a stepping stone to pave the way for their other children. Everyone discussed wildly, but I didn't express any opinion. I packed my school bag and prepared to go home. When passing by the playground, Lin Yuewei's mother saw me and rushed up in one step. Stop. Are you the classmate who paid my daughter's tuition? She's been expelled and doesn't need to go to school anymore. Give the tuition to her younger brother. After all, we're all family. It's the same. Her father, who couldn't persuade the head teacher, also came to block me. If you give the tuition to her younger brother, then you have to give the living expenses to her younger sister. Take both children with you when you tutor. Junior high school students are easy to teach. Where did these beggars come from? How shameless. Do they really think I'm a stupid rich second generation? You can't reason with people who are unreasonable and pestering. You have to be more unreasonable and pestering than them. I glared, turned around, and grabbed her parents. Who the hell are you? How dare you make demands on me? Lin Yuewei swindled 200,000 yuan from me. I haven't even asked you for it yet. They didn't believe me at all. I opened the transfer record for them to see. A month ago, before I was reborn, Lin Yuewei borrowed 200,000 yuan from me, saying that it was to test our sisterly relationship. At that time, I transferred the money without hesitation. After the test, she didn't return it. 200,000 yuan wasn't a big deal to me, but when her family saw the transfer amount, their eyes widened. So much money, where is she? Get the money back. I didn't see her just now. She must have run away. Unfilial daughter. I gave birth to her, and she should support me. She hid the money and didn't say anything. She's really an ungrateful wretch from the bottom of her heart. No way, she's still a minor. Her assets should be managed by her parents. Quick, find her immediately. The group of people discussed how to distribute the money as if no one else was around. They suddenly shook off my hand, afraid that I would hear. That was a loan. Whoever borrowed it, you go find them. It has nothing to do with us. As if afraid of being blackmailed. They quickly left the school. I pretended to be persistent and chased out of the school gate. Uncle Lu had been waiting at the gate for a long time and immediately drove the car in front of me. When Lin Yuewei's family saw the luxury car and Uncle Lu's burly figure, they didn't dare to come up and make a scene. They were really bullying the weak and fearing the strong, cowardly and greedy. I didn't intend to entangle with these people in the first place. I gave them the middle finger, opened the car door, and got in. At this time, a man in gray suddenly rushed up from the side and cut off my braid with scissors. After cutting, he ran away. Uncle Lou was afraid of his accomplices and didn't dare to chase. He immediately called the police. When the police came, they said that the nearby surveillance was broken and didn't capture the person. They had to go back and investigate. I held my phone in front of the police. No need for surveillance. It was him who cut my hair. This person was Lin Yue's neighbor and also a hooligan from the vocational high school next door. In the previous life, he had done many shady things for Lin Yue. I knew him very well. With my clue, the police quickly caught the person. Although his behavior didn't constitute the crime of intentional injury, it still violated the law on Public Security Administration punishments. He might face a fine or public security detention. My lawyer, on the grounds that I had suffered mental harm, refused to mediate and said that he would sue in court. That hooligan was still young and inexperienced. As soon as he saw my lawyer team, he immediately confessed Lin Yue. He said that Lin Yue promised him that as long as he cut my hair, she would date him. The hooligan had liked Lin Yue since he was a child and thought that cutting someone's hair wasn't a criminal act, so he agreed. He didn't expect to be caught. Lin Yue was brought to the police station. She firmly denied any involvement. The hooligan cursed, but he couldn't produce any evidence, so he was detained civilly by the police. After the matter was over, Lin Yue raised a smiling face, looked at me with confidence, and slowly raised her wrist. On it was a bracelet woven with hair. The style was strange and special, making people feel uneasy. Is it beautiful? You know what? You won't live for more than 2 days. Originally, you could have lived for 2 more years. But because you always act so arrogant, I'm taking back this chance. Regret it, you. Someone interrupted her delusion. Lin Yue, you good for nothing. Hand over the money. Her parents suddenly rushed into the police station, dragged Lin Yue onto the street, and slapped her in the face. I ended the location sharing and stepped aside to watch the show. Unfilial daughter, you have money but don't support your parents. You don't know how to be grateful at all. You're a heartless good for nothing. I really shouldn't have given birth to you back then. Give me the money, or I'll beat you to death, you dirty-hearted slut. Do you want to embezzle that money alone? That's all for your younger brother. Bullshit, I'm his father. She has my surname. Why should it be given to your son, Yue? You're so stupid. You're a girl. What's the point of going to school if you don't get married early? You can only find someone with poor conditions now. Don't listen to your grandma. Grandma has found you a good one. He's only in his early 30s. There's only one daughter in the family and no son. You should seize this opportunity well. If you marry in, there will be a 100,000 yuan betrothal gift. 7. As soon as Lin Yue saw her parents, her previous arrogance immediately disappeared. She froze on the spot. Her whole expression was dazed. Her eyes were dull, and her body couldn't stop shaking, as if she had seen a terrifying demon. She was so torn by her relatives that she couldn't stand steadily. She reached out to me in a panic, opening her mouth as if she wanted to say something. I glanced at her, turned around, and left, ignoring the helplessness in her eyes. In the previous life, when we first met, she was also so helpless. At the beginning of the first year of senior high school, at the school gate, she was dressed in rags, carrying a sack, and was being scolded by her parents, pointing at her nose. They said that she was unwilling to work to earn money to share the burden for her parents, nor was she willing to get married to exchange the betrothal gift money to build a house for her parents. Instead, she was daydreaming about asking her parents for money to go to school. If they didn't agree, she would steal money and run away. She was simply an ungrateful wretch. They wanted to drag Lin Yue back to the village to get married. I saw her being dragged back step by step. The light in her eyes, like an extinguished flame, gradually dimmed and became empty and hopeless. I couldn't bear it and felt that I should do something. So I reached out and pulled her, with someone sponsoring. Her family finally agreed to let her come back to school, but like leeches, they took all the sponsored money. I had no choice but to support her with my pocket money. At first, she was very grateful to me. Although she was introverted and shy to say thank you, she studied very hard. She only slept 4 hours a day, skipped meals, and did exercises frantically, as if she wanted to repay me. She would put the report card on my desk every time she made progress in the exam. I really admired people who worked hard. Unconsciously, I got closer and closer to her. Because of pity, I was also getting better and better to her. If she couldn't do the problems, I would explain them to her. If she had no food to eat, I would bring it to her. If she had no clothes to wear, I would buy the same ones for her as mine. If she had no mobile phone to use, I would buy her the latest model. If she had never traveled far, I would take her on a trip. If she had no other friends, I would bring her into my circle of friends. Later, she no longer had the shabbiness and timidity she had when we first met. When we went out to play together, people always thought that she was also a wealthy daughter. Slowly, she began to focus on things other than study. I noticed it, but I didn't think there was a problem, because I wasn't a person who just studied hard, and I wouldn't force others to just bury their heads in doing exercises and have no other life at all. But her grades were originally not good. Even if she worked hard, she could only rank in the middle, lower part of the grade. She might not even be able to get into college. What would she do if she didn't go to college? That family of vampires would definitely come to torment her again, to stimulate her. I said that I could help her for a while, but I couldn't help her for a lifetime. After knowing my attitude, she cried unbelievably for several days. It took me a long time to persuade her to focus on her studies. She didn't know how to study, so I tutored her personally. I asked the teacher to change the dormitory and seats for us and made an agreement to get into the same university, in order to make her focus and not be affected by other things. I no longer gave her money for things other than study. She complained a few times, but she didn't dare to ask for more. I thought she could understand my good intentions. But she showed me with her actions that she not only didn't understand but also chose to bite the hand that fed her. With a bloody lesson, I deeply realized what a little kindness breeds gratitude, while excessive kindness breeds resentment. Means, this time, I didn't care about her and let her be dragged away by her family, pulling her hair. The disaster that she avoided in the previous life, let her taste it well in this life. When I left the police station and returned home, I took off the messy wig. Looking at my shiny bald head, I couldn't help but sigh. It's really a pity that I can't see her look unlucky when her luck is deducted with my own eyes. 8. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. I really couldn't stand the stuffiness of the wig, so when I went to class with a bald head, ignoring everything outside the window, the competition class exploded. Fanching, what's wrong with you? Is there any special reason? Too lazy to wash your hair? Shaving your head is really convenient. Washing your hair in the morning really wastes time. The time saved can be used to do several more problems. I've got it. So this is the reason why your grades are so good. I'm going to shave my head too. Many people came to visit my bald head every day after class. I was a bit uncomfortable at first, but after a few days, it was okay. In school, the most important thing was still grades. Even if I was laughed at, in the end, I was still firmly in the first place in the grade. Some people thought that shaving my head reduced my appearance anxiety and allowed me to focus more on my studies. So, a week later, there were several more shiny bald heads in the school. I was really speechless about this. Fortunately, the bald head craze didn't last long. Other rumors gradually spread in the school. It was a rumor about Lin Yuewei. An insider in the group revealed Lin Yuewei was taken back to the village and locked up. She was going to marry a man who was a dozen years older than her. Then, on the wedding day, she accidentally broke her leg. The two families started arguing about Lin Yuewei becoming disabled at the wedding banquet. The man's family didn't want a disabled person, and the woman's family didn't want to return the betrothal gift. The two sides quarreled fiercely and smashed the wedding to pieces. In the end, Lin Yuewei's family was more successful in lying on the ground, crying, shouting, and threatening to commit suicide, and they won the final victory. The man's family was angry and took her home to deliberately torment her, showing no mercy. Even with a broken leg, she still had to do the laundry, cook, and work in the fields every day. Lin Yuewei couldn't stand this suffering. While the old man was drunk, she stole all the money in the house and ran away overnight. She ran back to the city. And then she didn't know where she got the information of several rich second generations. She called and sent WeChat messages to them every day. Someone who knew the parties involved sent over the chat screenshots. Hi, long time no see. Who? You don't know who I am, but I know you. You are the heir of Guoyu Group and will marry the daughter of the mayor's family in the future. I know you don't like Chu Yanyu, and I can help you. Who are you? Come to this address to pick me up. And you'll know, I'm injured and need a sum of money for treatment. If you help me, I won't treat you badly. When I'm better, I'll set up a company and be your backing. Then your parents won't force you anymore. At this point, she was blocked. Then there was the chat record with another person. Feng Chihan, I'm Lin Yuewei. Who? I've never heard of you. I know you're under house arrest abroad now. As long as you transfer money to this account, I can help you deal with your stepbrother. Where did you find out about this? And how can you help me? Your stepbrother likes me. He'll listen to what I say. Then I'll make him give the company to you. Damn it, where did this crazy person come from? This person also cursed at her before blocking her. The following things were really strange. Goo biting. I'm Lin Yuewei. Ah, you finally added me. There's a crazy person named Lin Yuewei going around lately, only adding rich second generations and acting crazy. I've been waiting for several days. I thought I was kicked out of the rich second generation circle. Alright, let's start the routine. I'm really curious about what you know. Hurry up. I'm in a hurry to take a screenshot. These rich second generations in the group were probably bored and had nothing to do. They tacitly used Lin Yuewei as a pastime. They would chat a few words now and then show the chat screenshots, sharing Lin Yuewei's grandiose words with everyone. People in the group who saw the chat screenshots started to feel extremely embarrassed, as if they were digging the floor of a villa with their feet. There were constant complaints, and some gossip was mixed in. Since we were classmates, how about pooling some money to get her brain checked? I'm already so embarrassed for her that I've mentally dug out a 3-bedroom and 1 living room apartment. Do you know, Lin Yuewei couldn't catch a rich second generation, and it seems that she got together with a hooligan next door. I can testify that this is true. I saw Lin Yuewei going to a hotel with someone, and the other person was wearing what seemed to be the school uniform of the vocational high school next door. The key is that she was still on crutches. Damn it. What was she thinking? Is that so? She was talking to my uncle's client. How old is your uncle? He's 56, and his client is about the same age. What? I saw it with my own eyes. She was in the party photo my uncle sent. I wasn't sure, so I didn't dare to say anything. Picture, JPG, damn it, just looking at his face, he could be my grandpa. Hey, this man has a bald head just like the monitor. Could this be some unique taste substitute plot? Puff ha 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 ha. The monitor was innocently dragged into this. In the photo, a group of people were in a KTV private room, and both men and women were laughing happily. The man in the middle was estimated to be in his 50s or 60s. He had a bald head, a gold necklace, and his exposed arms were covered with tattoos. He kissed the girl in his arms lewdly, and one hand was even under her skirt. The girl was heavily made up and looked shy. It was, obviously, Lin Yuewei who had been expelled for more than a month. Others were shocked by the degradation of the so-called Dragon Outyin, a powerful and overbearing character, and they were chatting and complaining in the group with laughter. But I looked at the man with the bald head and gold necklace and fell into deep thought. This man was an international fugitive. He was jointly wanted by several countries for murder, robbery, and illegal smuggling in the previous life. This person kidnapped Lin Yuewei, but was convinced by the aura of Lin Yuewei and was willing to submit and serve her. But that was something that happened several years later. He shouldn't be here now, unless Lin Yuewei used some method to contact him in advance. Thinking of the possible danger, I called my father and applied for boarding at school. Then when I went home on weekends, in addition to Uncle Lou, several more muscular bodyguards were added. With such an arrangement, I thought I was safe, but I was still kidnapped. 9. The bald-headed man kidnapped me, euphemistically saying that he was inviting me to his place as a guest. Besides me, many other people were also invited. All the hostages were, without exception, the daughters of wealthy families or the sons of important political figures in the city. On the first day, we were forced to talk to our parents as the robbers demanded. In order not to suffer physical pain, I obediently did as they said. The other girls who were kidnapped with me were all scared out of their wits. When they called their parents, they couldn't even speak clearly and could only cry. The bald-headed man kidnapped us because he wanted to open the city's illegal trading market through coercion. After all, our parents were all influential, powerful, and wealthy people. As long as he could control one of them, the bald-headed man's forces could fully penetrate, and his plan could be carried out smoothly. And it was Lin Yuewei who provided our information to the bald-headed man. After 3 months, I saw her again in this dilapidated warehouse. She had a high fever and was sitting in a wheelchair, being pushed past me. She looked really pitiful, just like me when I was constantly having bad luck in the previous life, and even more miserable. The pant legs between her legs were empty. Obviously, she had been amputated. I didn't expect that the price of not being able to return the luck to the system would be so high. Besides being surprised, I only felt a sense of secret pleasure. Evil deeds will eventually meet with retribution. She deserved it. She understood the expression on my face. She was full of viciousness and unwillingness, but she didn't do anything, because she didn't dare, in this life. Lin Yuewei relied on providing information and selling her charm to get close to the bald-headed man with the gold necklace. In this strictly hierarchical criminal group, she was the lowest in status. She didn't have the superiority and arrogance in front of the underworld that she had in the previous life at all. We still had some use value. The bald-headed man said that no one could act rashly before he achieved his goal. Lin Yuewei was afraid of ruining the bald-headed man's important plan, so how dare she not listen? On the second day of being kidnapped, several parents compromised. The bald-headed man kept his promise and released them, and he planned to sell the rest to Myanmar. I was among them. When Lin Yuewei learned of this, she requested to deal with me personally. The bald-headed man took someone into the room and tossed around for a day before agreeing to her request. Lin Yuewei came to me with injuries all over her body and a distorted expression. She viciously threw a ball of hair at my face. You deceived me so badly, Jiang Fanqing, changing seats, moving house, transferring classes, wearing a wig, let me guess. In fact, you were reborn too, right? And, you know I have a system and that I can absorb your luck, so you deliberately avoided me. Haha, I should have guessed it earlier. When you inexplicably changed seats, I should have noticed it. But it's not too late now, you made me so miserable. I must make you taste the pain I've suffered. I'll cut off your hands and feet, turn you into a human pig, and take you with me every day. Then you'll never be able to run away again. I'll absorb you bit by bit and then chop you up and feed you to the dogs. Humph. Not letting her absorb my luck is considered harming her. Her values are completely messed up. She was too close to me, and she smelled bad. It was really disgusting. Stimulated by my disgusted expression, Lin Yuewei gave a sinister smile. What are you pretending to be noble for? Do you think you can escape? I'll make arrangements for you tonight. I'll make sure you can neither live nor die. My hands and feet were tied up with ropes, and I couldn't avoid her restraint. I sighed helplessly. You know what? Villains usually die because they talk too much. What? At this time, the rumbling sound of propellers faintly came from a distance. Then the warehouse door was suddenly broken open, and a group of policemen rushed in. Don't move, you're surrounded. Put down your weapons and surrender immediately. The robbers were caught off guard and fled in panic. Some people tried to resist, but they were no match for the absolute force. The bald-headed man was quickly subdued by the police. Lin Yuewei looked at the chaotic situation and took out a dagger with a pale face. It doesn't matter. As long as you're dead, I can still absorb luck from others. She grinned viciously and held up the knife, stabbing towards my chest. At this time, the daughter of a wealthy family who had been crying beside me suddenly broke free from her restraint, took a step forward, and subdued Lin Yuewei. The suspect has been controlled. Let's withdraw. After saying this, all the daughters and sons of wealthy families threw off the ropes on their bodies and quickly joined in the process of arresting the criminals. Don't move, police, be honest. Lin Yuewei was pinned down. Her face was pressed against the soil on one side, and her eyes were wide open. She struggled and looked at me. You. I walked over and smiled at her. Thanks to you this time, otherwise, the bald-headed man wouldn't have been able to enter the country. The handcuffed bald-headed man passed by. Hearing this, he stared at Lin Yuewei as if looking at a dead person. Lin Yuewei shivered in fear. When she looked at me again, her emotions had collapsed. No, I didn't. You framed me. This shouldn't be like this. I was reborn. So why is this happening? It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Why don't you die? No, that's not right. I shouldn't have gotten married. It would have been better if I hadn't. Without the car accident, I wouldn't have died. And I wouldn't owe the system 100 million luck points. I would still be the richest person. Obviously so many people loved me. Why did I choose him? I should have married the vice mayor. He liked me the most. No. I should have married Professor Liu. He has no money and no power, and he's the easiest to control. Marrying Chief Wang would also be good. The conditions of President Shui can barely match me. They all loved me. I'm the heartthrob. I'm the group president. I'm Lin Yuewei who can manipulate everything. This isn't true. This isn't true. She started to go crazy, lying on the ground and crying and laughing non-stop. I felt sorry for her. So I squatted down and told her the truth. In the previous life, her husband coaxed her into falling in love with him with sweet words, but in fact, it was for revenge. Because Lin Yuewei had an underhanded deal with the bald-headed man and kidnapped the wealthy daughter who was excellent in both character and learning, and it happened to be her husband's first love. Her husband had a crush on his first love since he was a child. He didn't expect that his first love would die strangely before he proposed. He started to investigate secretly. During the process, he found several people who shared the same experience as him. Some of them lost their sisters, some lost their wives, and some lost their daughters. The rest of their lives could only be lived in the pain of losing their loved ones. With the same experience, they helped each other and finally found out about Lin Yuewei. Lin Yuewei was simple-minded, stupid, and arrogant, but somehow she had a large family business and was difficult to shake. So, they formulated a careful plan. Therefore, Lin Yuewei's ending had already been written. Whether she got married or not, she couldn't escape death. After hearing this, Lin Yuewei shook her head wildly. It's impossible. It's impossible. You're lying to me. You're just jealous of me. Jealous that so many people pursued me. What you said isn't true. Ha ha ha. I'm right, aren't I? You're jealous that I had everything. Since you couldn't get it, you wanted to destroy it. You just can't stand to see me doing well, right? Yes, that's it. You've always been such a hypocritical and insidious person, Jiang Fanqing. I pity you. You have nothing. You're not as good as me. She said this with a red face and stared straight at me, eagerly waiting for me to say something. I raised my hand to cover my nose and took a step back. You peed your pants. Lin Yuewei was stunned. She looked down at the filth under her and suddenly lost her strength. This time, she was really crazy. Seeing that she was gradually going crazy, I ignored her and turned around and left the scene with the accompanying medical staff. This should be the last time we meet. If nothing unexpected happens, she will be sentenced to at least 10 years in prison. But since she didn't return the luck, she couldn't even live for a year. But all of this was what she deserved. If she hadn't used the system to absorb other people's luck, none of this would have happened. As the saying goes, those who commit many evils will surely come to their own end, and good and evil will be rewarded according to their deeds, which is the way of heaven. She did so many evil deeds in her previous life, so in this life, she can spend the rest of her life repaying them. Goodbye, Lin Yuewei. Her emotions were completely out of control. She fell to the ground with a blank look in her eyes and kept whimpering. I smiled at her and turned around to leave the scene with the accompanying medical staff. This arrest operation was very successful. Our city cracked a major transnational crime case and brought the main criminal, the bald-headed man, and all his accomplices to justice. In the previous life, he was extremely evil but got away with it. After Lin Yuewei got married, he disappeared without a trace, and no news of him could be found anymore. I watched countless innocent lives being killed with my own eyes, but I was powerless. In this life, the evil forces have been completely eradicated, and the stone in my heart has finally fallen. I have a vague feeling that this is the meaning of my rebirth. When I saw the photo of the bald-headed man before, I immediately contacted my father and then sorted out a set of clues for him. Before my father went into business, he was a police officer for 20 years. When he saw this document, his face changed, because this set of clues was as detailed as it could be, and after investigation, all of it was true. If my father didn't know me, he might even suspect that I was the bald-headed man. He asked me where I got it, and I shifted the blame, telling my father that it was collected by Lin Yuewei. This statement couldn't stand scrutiny, but the clues were really there. Compared with the source of the clues, catching the criminal was more important. I also knew the information about those rich second generations that Lin Yuewei knew. After all, I had followed her for a lifetime, so the hostages became police officers, and a tight net was spread throughout the city, ready to catch the criminals in a trap. After the bald-headed man was brought to justice, he was sentenced to death and executed immediately. The other accomplices were dealt with in accordance with the law, with sentences ranging from life imprisonment to death penalty with a reprieve. Lin Yuewei had a mental breakdown. After appraisal, the situation was confirmed to be true, and she was sent to a mental hospital. Later, it was heard that she disappeared again. No one knew where she had gone. Someone saw her parents bowing and scraping as they pushed her into a van. The driver was suspected to be from Southeast Asia. Before leaving, he threw several stacks of money to her parents. Just like that, the news that Lin Yuewei had been trafficked to Myanmar spread quickly. However, this kind of unsubstantiated gossip was forgotten by people within a few days, because the whole competition class was recommended for admission. As soon as I entered the examination room, I would have a fever. As soon as I picked up the exam paper, I would have a headache. Even if I didn't feel uncomfortable, I would get injured and bleed due to bumps and bruises, and couldn't take the exam normally. This everyone knew that we were free. Whenever we had time, we would go to the No.2 teaching building to ask questions. Who had the time to pay attention to other things? I got the recommended admission qualification to the School of Physics at Tsinghua University. Then, amidst the praise and congratulations from teachers and classmates, I gave up the recommended admission. People around me didn't understand my choice. They thought that recommended admission meant a stable opportunity for further study, but at the same time as recommended admission, I would lose the right to choose. Although Tsinghua University is good, it doesn't have the major I want to study. Having a second life, I don't want to be chosen anymore. So, the college entrance examination arrived. I rolled up my sleeves, ready to take the college entrance examination in the most perfect state. Without Linua and the system, those strange and unlucky things like catching a cold and having a fever, and falling down while walking all left me. Finally, with a total score of 719 points without bonus points, I was admitted to Peking University's Yuanpei College and chose my favorite major. After the college entrance examination, I started a business and registered a company. My parents thought I was just playing around like a child and didn't take it seriously. Unexpectedly, I earned 100 million yuan in just 1 year. They were surprised that I actually had the ability to make a company thrive and thought I was extremely talented, but I don't have any business talent. I just know the emerging industries in the next 10 years and know the hidden big shots who are still starting their businesses at present. That's all. During the summer vacation of my freshman year, the company's net profit doubled, and we went on a team building trip abroad. After I came back from the cool and comfortable summer resort, I took my assistant to Thailand, which was hot and humid, to do business. When we arrived at the show venue, the boss smiled obsequiously and said that the poor business was due to the fact that fewer and fewer tourists had come to Thailand in the past 2 years. I didn't comment. I pulled back the carpet in the hall and skillfully entered the underground club, but I didn't expect that the underground club was dim and enclosed. There were all kinds of cages placed there, in which strange-shaped animals were displayed for people to watch. In the very center of the room, there was a high platform, and on the high platform sat a mass of flesh. This turned out to be a human pig with all facial features destroyed. The human pig saw me. Tears flowed from its eyes, and it opened its mouth but couldn't make a sound. It twisted wildly. At this time, I heard the familiar system voice coming from the human pig. Disconnected from the target, the attempt to absorb luck failed. Please try again.